Chapter 361, Fire Spirit Beast. Master Xianyuan and the other elders immediately understood Heavenly Gate sect's intentions. They were using the death of Zhang Xiong and the others as an excuse to force Spirit Radiance sect to transfer 1/10 of their spirit stones. The Heavenly Gate sect was really despicable. If they wanted to fight and kill, Spirit Radiance sect was not afraid of them. However, Earth Fire only existed in Heavenly Gate sect's territory. They were basically forcing Spirit Radiance sect to give up their share of spirit stones. 1/10 of their spirit stones was not a small amount. Most importantly, it was a long-term effective share. It could not be calculated with numbers. They were truly sinister. No matter what, Heavenly Gate sect was not at a loss. If Spirit Radiance sect handed over Yun Chujio and the others, then their reputation would plummet. The disciples would have no sense of belonging to such a sect. If they did not hand over the 4 people, then they could only give up their share of spirit stones. Otherwise, Spirit Radiance sect would encounter huge obstacles in refining pills and weapons. Although Master Xianyuan was anxious in his heart, his expression was calm. Master Dugu, everyone has come from afar. It's better rest at the guest house first. It won't be too late for us to discuss this even after discussing what had happened. Du Gai was full of confidence. He sneered arrogantly and left with the people of Heavenly Gate sect. Master Xianyuan comforted Yun Chu and the other 2 and gestured for them to leave first. However, he kept Yun Chujio behind. Everyone, what do you think? Master Xianyuan looked at everyone. The Heavenly Gate sect is really going too far. Naturally, we can't hand them over. These 4 children are clearly victims. Moreover, those bastards deserve to die. Even if little Gio killed them, it would still be a good kill. That's right, we definitely can't hand them over. The Heavenly Gate sect has been planning this for a long time. Even if there isn't such a thing, they will find other excuses to blackmail us. This Earth Fire being controlled by people was bound to be a drawback sooner or later. Without Earth Fire, refining pills would still fine, but refining weapons would come to a halt. If we were to buy spirit weapons, it would be too expensive. Secondly, there would also be hidden dangers if we bought from outsiders. But 1/10 of the spirit stone share is really a huge loss. The Heavenly Gate sect has a huge appetite. Moreover, with this, it's inevitable that they will repeat their old tricks in the future. They will gradually erode our spirit stone share. Without the support of the spirit stones, Spirit Radiance sect will be in danger. Yun Chujio raised her claws and asked weakly, everyone, can I ask, what exactly is Earth Fire? Why does only Heavenly Gate sect have it, oh? Can't we use something else to replace it? There's a strange beast called the Fire Spirit Beast in Qingxian continent. The Fire Spirit Beast feeds on ores, and after it digests the ores, it will burn on its own. Over time, it will form an endless stream of earth fire. Master Xianyuan explained. Yun Chujio rubbed her chin and blinked her eyes. You mean to say that the earth fire is the burning fire spirit beast's dregs? The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. Why did they feel that the earth fire was so wretched after Yun Chujio's explanation? Master Xianyuan coughed dryly. You can think of it that way too. Then why don't we just catch a fire spirit beast? Why do we have to suffer the wrath of Heavenly Gate sect? Yun Chujio asked in confusion. Firstly, these beasts are extremely rare, and secondly, they are extremely difficult to catch. It's not only us. The other factions have also sent out large numbers of people to search for them, but they have all returned empty-handed. For thousands of years, only the Heavenly Gate sect managed to catch one by chance. Why don't we steal the one from the Heavenly Gate sect? Yun Chujio said slyly. Everyone was speechless. Chapter 362, Candidates to go to the Fire Cave. The Fire Spirit Beast is extremely stubborn. Once it has identified a nest, it will not easily move. Moreover, it lives in the earth fire all year round. Even the people of the Heavenly Gate sect rarely see the beast appear, what's more us. Even if we can find it, it'll be difficult to capture it in the raging earth fire. Moreover, Heavenly Gate sect is guarding it tightly. We have no chance to take action. Yun Chujo nodded. In this case, stealing was definitely not an option. Master Xianyuan, the Heavenly Gate sect came with bad intentions. Why don't we delay it for a month and use this month to find the fire essence beast? If we can find it, everyone will be happy. In the future, we won't have to succumb to Heavenly Gate sect anymore. Even if we can't find it, we can use the month to think of other ways to solve this. Yun Chujio said as she rolled her eyes. Master Xianyuan and the others discussed for a while but could not think of any good ideas, so they could only do as Yun Chujio suggested. The next morning, the people of the two sects began to discuss again. Du Gai asked with a hint of pride, Master Xianyuan, I wonder how the discussion is going in your sect. Are you going to hand over the people or the share of spirit stones? Du Gai had a 99% chance of winning. This is just the beginning. Our Heavenly Gate sect would exterminate these forces one by one sooner or later. As long as we use the earth fire to blackmail you, I'm not afraid that you won't comply. Master Xianyuan smiled faintly. We definitely won't hand over our people. Naturally, we won't give up our share of spirit stones as well. Du Gai snorted coldly. So you're giving up on the earth fire? Fine. Since that's the case, there's nothing more to say. Farewell. Wait. Du Gai, we both know exactly how Zhang Xiong and the others died. There are some things that can't be said openly. Your Heavenly Gate sect relied on the benefits of the earth fire to plunder so much. Why don't you invite everyone here and well evaluate the situation properly? Master Xuanyuan's face darkened slightly, his tone became unfriendly as well. Humph. Do you think I'm afraid of you? The earth fire belongs to Heavenly Gate sect. We can sell it to whoever we want. No one can find fault with our sect. Even though Du Gai said that, he was still unwilling to make a big deal out of this matter. Sect masters, please calm down. Please listen to me. Elder Chu came out to act as a peacemaker. Master Xianyuan and Du Gai both snorted coldly and did not speak anymore. Sect Master Du Gai, the incident happened so suddenly that Spirit Radiance sect was caught off guard. Everyone's opinions are also not unanimous. Why don't we give it a few more months to discuss before we decide on an answer? Elder Chu was shrewd, using the words, a few months, to bargain. Du Gai's eyes flickered, and after weighing the pros and cons, he sneered and said, all right. For the sake of our friendship, I'll give you a month's time. If after a month, you won't hand over your people nor share of spirit stones, then we'll cut off your earth fire supply. Du Gai stood up and left. Before he left, Elder Zhang cast a sinister glance at Yun Chujio, his eyes filled with killing intent. Su Yanran also sneered. Yun Chujio, even if Spirit Radiance sect doesn't hand you over, they will still vent their anger on you because of the lost and share of spirit stones. You will never have a bright future. After the people from Heavenly Gate sect left, those from Spirit Radiance sect began to discuss their next plan. First, Elder Jean from the refining department should quickly forge some important spirit tools just in case. Second, Elder Qi from the refining room should also refine all the high-grade spirit herbs he has. Third, he'll personally visit the other major factions to see if there's any change in the situation. Last but not least, and most importantly, send a group of people to the fire cave to capture the fire spirit beasts. Who is willing to lead the team? Everyone looked at each other. It was not that they were afraid of danger. It was that this operation was very important to Spirit Radiance sect. They had to weigh their own weight. Chapter 363, Beating the Crap Out of People. Elder Shao stood and said, Sect Master, I'll go. I went with my master once before. Although I didn't successfully capture the fire spirit beast, I've grasped some rules. Maybe I can use my knowledge. Master Xianyuan nodded. He thought for a while and said, Elder Xiao and Elder Chu will lead the team and recruit an additional 2 elders from each peak. Bring all the new disciples who have been promoted to the inner sect with you. Tell the public that you'll lead the new disciples for the trial. It's urgent. Well, set off early tomorrow morning. Yun Chujio stretched out her little claws. Bring me along too. Master Xianyuan nodded. Sure. But you can't mess around. Your safety is the most important thing. Yun Chujio nodded, but she was cursing in her heart. Why did everyone have to tell her not to mess around? When had she ever messed around? Seriously. Maybe she would make a great contribution this time. At that time, she would ride back on the fire spirit beast and blind everyone's eyes. Early the next morning, Elder Xiao and Elder Chu led 10 elders, 29 new disciples, and an extra Yun Chujio, and left Spirit Radiance sect on a flying spirit tool. Anfeng looked at the flying spirit tool that had gone into the distance and quickly followed it. This Miss Jiao is really troublesome. Where is she going? He was puzzled. Every time Miss Jiao was in danger, why was he unable to help because of restrictions? Could it be that heavens had arranged it on purpose? After setting out, Elder Chu finally told everyone the purpose of this trip. Having you disciples here was just a ploy to deceive others. The fire cave is far from Spirit Radiance sect and will take at least 10 days of travel. Every 1 or 2 days, it'll take you guys out for a walk. All of you should be careful with your words and actions, and don't cause any trouble. Everyone nodded, but when the elders returned to their cabins, Baimoru said unhappily, Yun Chujio, it's you again. If you didn't provoke the people of Heavenly Gates sect, would our sect be threatened by them? If I were you, I would take the initiative to commit suicide so as not to implicate the sect. Yun Chushan said softly from the side, Junior Sister Bai, don't say that. This person is selfish. She would not be willing to sacrifice herself. It's useless for you to even say this since some people are very thick-skinned. In the past, they've implicated the family at home. Now, they're implicating the sect. After everyone heard Elder Chu's words, they already felt a slight resentment toward Yun Chujio and the others. Now that they heard what Baimoru and Yun Chushan said, they felt that their words were not completely unreasonable. That's right, why should the sect take the blame for your trouble? Yun Chu, Yun Chuki, and Su Yun blushed. They felt very guilty already, and now that they saw everyone's condemning and contemptuous gazes, they felt even more embarrassed. Are you guys done? Yun Chujio asked indifferently. Baimoru snorted coldly. We're done. Could it be that what we said was wrong? Yun Chujio suddenly stretched out her hand and gave Baimoru and Yun Chushan 2 tight slaps. Then, she kicked them away. The 2 of them crashed into the wall and fell to the ground. All of this happened in a flash. Baimoyu, who was standing next to them, did not even have time to react when he saw Baimoru and Yun Chushan lying on the ground and screaming. Yun Chujio, what are you doing? Baimoyu shouted angrily. What are you doing? Teach them not to talk nonsense in the future. Do you have a problem with that? Do you want me to teach you too? Yun Chujio hugged her shoulders and shook her legs arrogantly. Chapter 364, How Could I Be Wrong? A few male disciples helped Baimoru and Yun Chushan to their feet. Yun Chushan questioned them with tears in her eyes. Yun Chujio, how are we talking nonsense? If it weren't for the few of you, would Heavenly Gates sect come to threaten Spirit Radiance sect? Those male disciples also glared at them angrily. That's right. Yun Chujio, it's your fault to begin with. What's wrong with what Junior Sister Bai and Junior Sister Yun said? What right do you have to hit people? Yun Chujio ignored the male disciples and looked at the Bai siblings and Yun Chushan. She said coldly, Humph. Have you heard of this saying? If you want to condemn someone, don't worry about the pretext. Heavenly Gate sect is just looking for trouble. Moreover, we didn't kill that bullshit of a person, Zhang Xiong. If we really traced it back, the culprit should be the three of you. When my fifth sister and the others were entangled by Zhang Xiong and the others, they originally wanted to crush the jade token to escape, but you guys said that you wanted to help deal with those 5 people. Unexpectedly, the 3 of you actually abandoned your fellow disciples and ran away with your tails between your legs. That was why fifth sister and the others were caught by Zhang Xiong and his posy. If anyone were to commit suicide to atone for their crimes, it should be the 3 of you scums who didn't care about the lives of your fellow disciples. The 3 of you are already habitual criminals. When you met Su Yanran later, didn't you also run away like cowards? How could you shameless people say that about us? You're truly shameless. Fifth sister, seventh sister, and senior sister Su, lift up your heads. We didn't do anything wrong. Why should we be the victims and let others slander us? Chen Duchuan and the others also came forward to confirm. That's right. At that time, Su Yanran forced us to hand over junior sister Little Jiu. Bai Moyu and the other 2 ran the fastest. At that time, he also admitted that he didn't save junior sister Su Yun and the others. When Bai Moyu saw that Chen Duchuan and the others stood on Yun Chujia's side, his eyes flickered a few times. He snorted coldly and said, "Those who are honest will know." No matter what the situation was at that time, the people that the Heavenly Gates sect wants now are the few of you, Yun Chujio. No matter what you say, it's still an excuse. Yun Chujio, you violated the sect rules by beating your fellow disciples. Just wait to be punished. Bai Moru and Yun Chushan's admirers had already gone to invite Elder Xiao and Elder Chu over. After a while, the elders pushed open the door and entered. Bai Moru and Yun Chushan hurriedly knelt down. Yun Chujio beat the 2 of us for no reason. Elder Xiao, Elder Chu, please do us justice. Elder Xiao frowned. What's going on? Bai Moyu also quickly knelt down and said, Elder Xiao. Moru and junior sister Yun only vented a few words of dissatisfaction. Although those words weren't very pleasant to hear, Yun Chujio shouldn't have beaten her fellow disciples. She even threatened to beat her disciples further. Bai Moru and Yun Chushan's admirers spoke up one after another, confirming that what Bai Moyu said was true. Yun Chuzi, Chen Duchuan, and the others wanted to speak up for Yun Chujio, but they realized that Bai Moya's words were watertight. They did not know what to say. Everyone was extremely worried. No matter what the reason was, Yun Chujio had violated the sect's rules. They were afraid that she would be punished. Elder Xiao frowned. This Yun Chujio was really troublesome. Yun Chujio, do you know your mistake? Yun Chujia's small body was straight, her small neck was raised. What mistake did I make? The Bai siblings and Yun Chushan had left them in the mystic realm to die and escaped at the last minute. Now, they've bewitched the hearts of the people and dividing our disciples. It's simply a heinous crime. I've already done my utmost to not kill them. Even if Bai Moyu and the other 2 are in the wrong, the law enforcement agency will punish them. What right do you have to use torture on your own? Elder Xiao was a righteous person and was very disgusted by actions that violated the sect rules. Bai Moya's eyes flashed with a smug look. Yun Chujio, you originally provoked the Heavenly Gate sect, and the sect leader and elders were already dissatisfied with you. You actually dared to speak up for yourself when you violated sect rules. Just wait to be punished. Chapter 365, Fire Edelweiss. Yun Chuzi and the others were extremely worried. Just as they were about to kneel down and plead on behalf of Yun Chujio said to Elder Xiao with a smile, Elder Xiao, can I have a word with you? Bai Moyu secretly pursed his lips. Can I have a word with you? Will Elder Xiao still listen to you? Unexpectedly, Elder Shao saw Yun Chuzhou desperately winking at him. He did not know what Yun Chuzhou was up to, so he could only take Yun Chuzhou out of the room. Little Pancher, I know that the Bai siblings are related to you, but these two are ingrates. Ah, and that Yun Chushan is not a good person. You don't have to do much. You'll know after observing her. In a while, you can just symbolically punish me. In doing this for the sake of Spirit Radiance sect. I'll give up my own reputation. Isn't it easy to deal with me? Elder Shao was confused by Yun Chujia's words. What nonsense was she talking about? However, when Yun Chuzhou called out Little Pancher, Elder Shao instantly became 3 times smaller. Yun Chuzhou did not need to call out her seniority. Not long after, the two of them returned to the room. Elder Shao's face was livid as he said, Yun Chuzhou used torture on her own accord and will be withheld of half a year's worth of sect resources. As for the matters within the mystic realm, they'll only punish her after I've investigated thoroughly. After Elder Shao finished speaking, he did not wait for the others to react. He flicked his sleeves and left. Seeing this, Elder Chu and the others also left. Yun Chuzhou hugged her shoulders and shook her calves. She said arrogantly, Bai Moru, Yun Chushan, if you continue to spout nonsense, he'll give up the sect's resources for the next 10 years and beat you to the ground. Bai Moru was furious. Elder Shao was clearly an old friend of her grandfather, but she did not expect him to help Yun Chuzhou. How hateful. Bai Moya's eyes flickered. There was no proof of what was said in the secret realm, and Elder Shao could not do anything to them. The most important thing now was to get rid of Yun Chuzhou. As long as he got rid of Yun Chuzhou, Yanran would continue to give him that magical pill, and it would not be long before he could break through again. These new inner sect disciples were divided into 3 groups. The Bai siblings and Yun Chushan were one group, and the followers were mainly male disciples who were interested in Bai Moru and Yun Chushan. Yun Chuzhou was one group. Aside from the Yun siblings, Qing Si, and Su Yun, there were also Chinduchuan and the other 8 people. The remaining 3 people, Liao Chuan, Mo Zhua, and Xia Mufeng, had a very close relationship, so the 3 of them formed a group. In the first few days of the journey, they would stop and walk to find some valleys and forests. They would let these disciples hunt demonic beasts and carry out trials. Occasionally, they would stay overnight in some towns for everyone to relax and let their guards down. In fact, Elder Shao and Elder Chu knew that this tactic would only confuse the Heavenly Gates sect for a few days. In the end, they would be able to guess the direction of the group with just one look at the route. However, a few days was enough, at least when they want to send people to intercept them, it would already be too late. After more than 10 days, they flew to a fiery valley. As soon as they got off the flying spirit tool, they felt a wave of heat. As far as their eyes could see, the entire valley was scarlet red. At first, they thought it was earth fire, but after taking a closer look, they realized that it was a kind of scarlet red grass. It was never-ending and looked quite spectacular. These are fire edelweiss. The juice is extremely poisonous. If it gets into a wound or if you accidentally ingest it, it'll instantly be fatal. You guys should be careful. Elder Shao said seriously. Everyone nodded in agreement. Bai Moya's eyes flickered. This fire edelweiss was a good thing. When no one was paying attention, Bai Moyu pretended to tidy up his boots and pulled out a few fire edelweiss to hide in his storage bag. Chapter 366, Red Flame Ants. The fire cave was located deep in the fire valley. After walking for almost a day, they finally arrived at the entrance of the cave. The temperature was getting higher and higher. The elders' spiritual power was better, but the disciples were in a sorry state. They kept wiping their sweat. Yun Chuzhou was the only one who was leisurely and walking as if nothing happened. The elders were amazed. The heavenly thunder root spirit was really different. To outsiders, Yun Chujia's spiritual power was only at the fourth level of the spirit enhancement realm. The disciples were puzzled. Why is Yun Chujia's spiritual power the lowest, yet nothing's happening to her? That's really strange. The cave is extremely dangerous. You must follow closely behind us and don't act rashly. If anyone dares to act without permission, the sect will punish them. Elder Shao said sternly. Everyone nodded and carefully tailed the elders into the fire cave. Yun Chujio looked around curiously. The scenery inside the fire cave was really unique. The ground was uneven and filled with holes the size of eggs. Above it, there were many jade-like objects hanging down, they were white as snow and sparkling. This girl was trying her best not to break off a few of them. They looked very valuable. Everything remained calm even after they had walked for some time. Nothing happened. Baimora whispered, "It's not as scary as it was made to sound. In fact, these stones hanging from the ceiling looks really nice." Junior sister Bai is right. This fire cave is just so. It's no big deal. Wait for me. A male disciple called Lu Yongsheng said ingratiatingly. Baimora's heart skipped a beat, and she slowed down her footsteps. The two waited for the person in front to walk a little further away before Lu Yongsheng jumped up and broke one of the stones. He said fawningly, "Junior sister, this is for you." Just as Baimoru was about to reach out to receive it, the ground suddenly trembled. Immediately after, several red flame ants drilled themselves out from the holes in the ground. Each ant was half a foot long and had a pair of sharp teeth. Baimoru was so scared that she ran away. The ants did not attack her and instead, went straight for Lu Yongsheng. The people in front only heard a scream. When they turned around, they saw that Lu Yongsheng's body was densely covered in red ants. Before they could react, only Lu Yongsheng's skeleton was left. Those ants were not done with the skeleton. In the blink of an eye, only Lu Yongsheng's storage bag was left on the ground. Baimoru ran in front of everyone. Her face was pale and her entire body was trembling. "No, it's not my fault. He was the one who insisted on breaking the jade-like stones." The disciples were stunned by the scene in front of them. Although none of them were cowards and had even killed people with their own hands, the scene in front of them was still too terrifying. Lu Yongsheng did not even have a chance to resist and was immediately gnawed by those ants. It was too terrifying. Elder Qi of the East Peak explained, "The white thing on top is not some jade stone, but the eggs of the red flame ants. They usually feed on the fire edelweiss plant and ores underground. As long as their eggs aren't touched, they won't attack humans or demon beasts. You mustn't touch anything in this cave. Otherwise, you'll end up like that disciple." This time round, there was no need to emphasize anymore. These disciples were very obedient and followed the elders carefully. Yun Chujio felt extremely lucky. "Damn, it's a good thing that I held back and didn't make a move. It was a close call. As expected, one shouldn't be too greedy." Chapter 367, Furnace Hot Pot. After walking for another 4 hours, the number of holes in the ground began to decrease, and the number of white jade stones above their heads also began to decrease. Everyone could not help but heave a sigh of relief. They had finally left the territory of the red flame ants. "Everyone, rest here for a while and replenish your strength. There will be fire serpents appearing ahead. Get ready." Elder Shao was the first to sit down on the ground. After eating a fasting pill and drinking some water, he began to meditate and rest. Everyone also took out fasting pills or dry rations and began to eat. Everyone took a deep breath. Why did it smell so good? Everyone followed the smell and looked over, but they were all dumbfounded. They saw Yun Chujio taking out an alchemy furnace and placing a few flint stones under it. Soon, the water in the alchemy furnace began to bubble. What was Yun Chujio doing? Alchemy? Obviously not. Was she cooking noodles? Using an alchemy furnace to cook noodles? Was there really such a thing? Yun Chujio slowly took out a few plates of thin sliced meat from her storage ring and placed them in the alchemy furnace. Then, she took out a small bowl with a long-prepared dipping sauce. Yun Chujio dipped the sliced meat into the dipping sauce and started eating happily. Everyone was dumbfounded. Don't even talk about using an alchemy furnace as a hot pot. The fire cave was already extremely hot, yet you're actually eating meat slices from a hot pot. Are you crazy? Elder Chu smelled the fragrance and went over. Little Joe, this meat slice is really fragrant, but aren't you feeling warm? It's because it's warm that I want to eat hot. Fighting poison with poison. This is very comfortable. Do you want to try some? Yun Chujio ate happily. Elder Chu was waiting for Yun Chujio to say that. Hee, then he'll try it. Yun Chujio helped Elder Chu scoop a small bowl of soup with meat slices. Elder Chu followed Yun Chujio and dipped the meat slices into the sauce and put it into his mouth. Delicious. It's really delicious. The two foodies, one old and one young, ate a total of 10 plates of meat slices. Elder Chu was sweating profusely from eating, but Yun Chujio only had small beads of sweat on her forehead. The heat of the fire cave was far inferior to the heat of being struck by lightning. Moreover, Yun Chujio had the bead spat out by the strange grass in her sleeve. She had relied on it to dispel the extreme heat in the Mystic Realm desert last time. Some disciples smelled the fragrance, and when they saw that Yun Chujio was enjoying her meal, they covertly swallowed their saliva. It was very fragrant. They would definitely give it a try when they went back. Yun Chujio's spiritual power was not that great, but she was definitely very good at eating. Elder Shao looked at the two random foodies and frowned. He endured it and did not say anything. After Yun Chujio had eaten and drunk her fill, she put away the pill refining furnace and took out a recliner. She happily lay on it and closed her eyes to rest. Everyone was so angry that they were twitching. Did you come to catch fire spirit beasts or go sightseeing? This is really too random. Bai Moya's eyes revealed a trace of malice. Keep showing off, Yun Chujio. You have the lowest spiritual power among us. When the time comes, it'll do something to you, and this fire cave will be your burial ground. After an hour, everyone continued walking. Ahead is the territory of the fire serpent. Although it is only a tier 2 demonic beast, they live in groups and exist in large numbers. Therefore, we have to end the battle quickly and not linger around. Sure enough, after everyone walked for a distance, the fire serpents began to attack them. The fire serpents had a cluster of fire markings on their heads, and they could swallow and spit fireballs. Although their grades were not high, everyone's movements were limited in the fire cave. On top of the large number of fire serpents, they definitely added a lot of trouble to everyone. Yun Chuzi and the others protected Yun Chujio in the middle. Yun Chujio, who was thick-skinned, did not feel embarrassed at all. Instead, she kept putting the bodies of the fire serpents that they had killed into her storage ring. Although these fire serpents were of low grades, they aren't available anywhere else. Perhaps they can be sold for a good price. This fellow had long forgotten what she had said before about not being too greedy. Chapter 368, the book that Yun Chujio read by Moyu tried several times to lure the fire serpent to Yun Chujio's side, but failed. He was afraid that he would attract the attention of others, so he had to give up temporarily. 2 hours later, they finally passed through the fire serpent's area. After walking for a while, the path ahead suddenly became clear. Several small holes appeared on the wall above their heads. Sunlight shone through the small holes, making the scene incredibly beautiful. Elder Shao, why are there so many small holes on the wall? An elder asked curiously. Elder Shao explained, the nest of the fire-breathing eagles is on the wall. These small holes were pecked out by them over thousands of years. Yun Chujiu blinked her eyes. Those fire-breathing eagles are probably sick. Do they have a bad habit of grinding their teeth while sleeping? The corner of Elder Xiao's eyes twitched. The reason why they pecked out these holes is that their eggs need a large amount of heat to hatch. They use the rising heat here to do that. Yun Chujiu curled her lips. With such a high temperature, wouldn't the babies turn into steamed eggs before it hatches? Elder Xiao glared at her fiercely. The temperature ahead is increasing. With your spiritual power, it's difficult to resist the high temperature inside. Moreover, the demonic beasts ahead are at least level 5. You can't deal with them either. Due to the presence of the fire-breathing eagles, those fire serpents won't come here. Moreover, the environment here is special, so there won't be any high-level demonic beasts. You guys just wait here. If we have not come out after 3 days, I'm afraid we've met our demise. You guys go back to the sect then. Liao Chuan, you're the oldest here. You keep this flying spirit tool well. When the time comes, you'll control this flying spirit tool and bring them back to the sect. Liao Chuan nodded in agreement. Elder Chu then set up a protective array around everyone before leaving. Yun Chujiu took out a recliner from her storage ring and laid down happily on it. She then took out the storybook she had bought on the way and started reading. When everyone saw the words on the cover, the corners of their mouths twitched slightly. Shockingly, the words they saw were, "Me and my 3,000 beautiful male cultivation furnaces, 1, were written on it. Yun Chujiu, you're actually reading such a dirty book. You're really shameless. Bai Moru said in disdain. Junior sister Bai, have you forgotten? She has always been like this. In the past, she pestered senior brother Bai and ran all over the city. A few days ago, I heard that she even seduced some young Master D. She really has no sense of shame. Yun Chushan hated Yun Chujiu to death in her heart. What right did she have? Clearly, a good-for-nothing was not only favored by the family head in the clan, but she actually became a true disciple in Spirit Radiance sect. Were these people blind? Yun Chujiu shifted her gaze from the book to the two of them and said slowly, either you shut your mouths yourselves, or I'll help you shut your mouths forever. Bai Moru was about to fly into a rage when Bai Moyu said coldly, Moru, junior sister Yun, say no more. Everyone has their own judgment on what's right and wrong. Just now at the fire serpent's place, not only did Yun Chujiu not lend a hand, she even took away the fire serpent's corpse. It could be said that she's extremely selfish. There's no need to argue with such a person. Yun Chujiu raised her eyebrows. Who else has a problem with me? Do you think I'm selfish? Bai Moyu and the others immediately scolded Yun Chujiu for being selfish. Yun Chuki and the others naturally had to protect Yun Chujiu and fiercely argued with her. Liao Chuan and the other two did not say anything. It was obvious that they did not want to participate in the dispute between the two factions. Enough. Stop arguing. Since you guys said I'm selfish, then I'll be selfish. I originally planned to divide the serpents I collected equally with everyone. After all, these fire serpents are considered rare and precious. Since you guys are so selfless, then I won't include you when I divide them. Without you guys, we can each get a little more. Yun Chujiu said with a smile. Chapter 369, If you want to know if someone's dead, you have to see their corpse. Bai Moyu and the others were instantly dumbfounded. Yun Chujiu actually gave out the fire serpents in her storage ring to everyone right in front of them. Chen Duchuan and the others were extremely excited. Fire serpents were rarely seen in the market, so it would bring in huge profits. Liao Chuan and the other two were also very surprised. However, none of them had any enmity regarding the spirit stones, so they kept the serpents after thanking Yun Chujiu. Bai Moru said angrily, Yun Chujiu, we killed some of them too. Why don't you give them to us? Yun Chujio looked at her as if she was looking at an idiot. Aren't you a selfless person? Do you care about these things? Right, you always care about yourself. How did that Lu Yongxing die? I don't believe that a man like him would break those so-called jade stones for no reason. Yun Chujio pointed at the male disciples beside by Moru and said, TSK, you guys are still citing her. You really have such short memory. The male disciples recalled Lu Yongsheng's death and could not help but feel scared. Yun Chushan said softly from the side, this Yun Chujio is used to twisting reality. Senior brother Liu's death was just an accident. What does it have to do with Moru? Moru was also scared. Bai Moru quickly teared and said sorrowfully, Yun Chujio, you're slandering me. I'm also very sad that senior brother Lu is dead, but I have no ability to save him. That's right. Yun Chujio, don't talk nonsense. It was senior brother Lu who was careless and provoked those red flame ants. It has nothing to do with junior sister Bai. The male disciples saw Bai Mora's charming face full of tears and immediately threw their rationality to the back of their minds. Yun Chujio could not be bothered with these idiots. She could not persuade those damn imbeciles with words, so she picked up her book and continued reading. Time passed quickly. On the third day, everyone began to worry. Elder Shao and the others still had not returned. Could it be that they were really doomed? Everyone's mood gradually fell. Yun Chujio felt that the situation was not great either. Even if they did not catch the fire spirit beast, Elder Shao and the others should have returned. Why were they not back yet? Could it be that they had encountered some powerful demonic beast? On the morning of the fourth day, Liao Chuan gritted his teeth. Junior brothers and sisters, I'm afraid that the elders have already met their demise. According to Elder Shao's instructions, we will return by the same route. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed as she followed everyone and began to walk out. Although they had encountered some trouble with the fire serpents, they still managed to successfully exit the fire cave. Liao Chuan called out the flying spirit tool, and everyone boarded it with heavy hearts. Little Jiu, what are you waiting for? Come on up. Yun Chuki saw that Yun Chujio was still standing idly, so she quickly called out. Yun Chujio smiled at her, and then said to Liao Chuan, who was standing beside her and had yet to board the flying spirit tool, Senior brother Liao, I won't go back with you guys. I want to go in and see how Elder Shao and the others are doing. Liao Chuan was stunned at first, then he said seriously, Junior sister Xiaojiu, your intention is good, but since Elder Shao and the others didn't come out in one piece, it means that the situation inside must be very dangerous. Your spiritual power is low. Aren't you just sending yourself to death? Hearing Yun Chuki's words, Yun Chuki and the others also ran down from the spirit tool. Little Jiu, don't mess around. This isn't a joke. Yun Chujio said slowly and firmly, I have to go in. I want to see people when I'm alive, and I want to see corpses when I'm dead. I can't just disappear like this. Don't worry, I have the spirit tool that the sect leader gave me. It's enough to protect my life. Chapter 370, Get Lost. Yun Chuzi and the others knew that Yun Chujio's decision would not change, so they said one after another, Little Jiu, if that's the case, then we'll go in with you. Yun Chujio shook her head. No. The spiritual weapon on me can only ensure my own safety. Don't worry, I cherish my life very much. If I see that the situation isn't good, I'll definitely retreat. Liao Chuan recalled that in the previous trial, Yun Chujio had come out of the mystic realm, and she had even brought out the inner core of a Tier 8 demonic beast. His heart moved. Perhaps this junior sister Little Jiu was not as mediocre as they thought. Otherwise, she would not have become a successor disciple. Liao Chuan thought of this and said, Junior sister Little Jiu, since you've made up your mind, I won't stop you. We won't leave this place for the time being and will wait for you for another 3 days. If you still don't come out after 3 days, well leave. Yun Chuzhou nodded. Liao Chuan was a good person. He was both smart and had morals. Yun Chuzhou immediately entered the fire cave again. Bai Moyu, who was on the flying spirit tool, had a twinkle in his eyes. He originally wanted to use the fire Edelweiss to do something, but he did not expect her to be so stupid as to go in and save the elders. She was really courting death. And Feng, who was hiding in the corner, wanted to cry but had no tears. Oh my God, what are you doing? How could a fire spirit beast be so easy to catch? It must be very dangerous. You're just a small fry. Aren't you sending yourself to your death? And Feng had no choice but to tail Yun Chuzhou and enter the fire cave. Yun Chuzhou began to speed up. Time was life. If she delayed any longer, something untoward might happen. Soon, she arrived at the fire serpent's territory. When they saw that Yun Chuzhou was alone, they all spat out their tongues and crawled over. Fuck off. Yun Chuzhou stretched out her hand and shot out a few purple lightning bolts. These fire serpents lived in this fire cave all year round, so they had never seen purple lightning bolts before. They were immediately scared and scattered in all directions. After Yun Chuzhou scared away the fire serpents, she quickly continued to run forward. And Feng, who was tailing her, clicked his tongue. My God, judging from what Miss Jiu did just now, she should have at least the spiritual power of a second-level spirit cultivator. Miss Jiu only used a little more than a year's time to go from a trash who had no spiritual power to a second-level spirit cultivator. This speed of cultivation was simply frightening. Yun Chuzhou ran as fast as she could. As she ran, she put on the birthday gift that she had bought from others. There were more than 10 hairpins on her head, 7 or 8 necklaces on her neck, more than 10 bracelets on her wrists, and a few colorful sashes on her waist. After this fellow finished dressing up, she felt much more confident. Humph. With her outfit, even if she encountered a tier 8 demon beast, she could drag it to death. And Feng, who was watching from behind, was dumbfounded. My God! Where did Miss Jiu get so many defensive spirit tools? Did she steal from the spirit tool pavilion of Spirit Radiance sect? Yun Chuzhou encountered a few waves of demon beasts along the way. Relying on the purple heavenly lightning and the defensive spirit tools, she passed through without much effort. I don't know how deep this damn fire cave is. I've been running for almost a day, but I still haven't reached the end. Yun Chuzhou was really tired from running, so she found a relatively safe place to sit down and rest. Rolling pin, if only you could become bigger. I can sit on it and rest. Now I can only stand on you. I really can't use it in this cave. Yun Chuzhou muttered. The rolling pin said weakly, Master, since you've leveled up, it'll naturally level up. I can grow bigger. Yun Chuzhou was so angry that her nose was almost crooked. You can fucking grow bigger. Why didn't you say so earlier? You made me run like a little donkey for an entire day. Chapter 371, The 6-piece will set. Yun Chuzhou took out the rolling pin from her storage ring. The rolling pin floated in the air and slowly turned into a large chopping board. Yun Chuzhou jumped onto the board. It was just enough to sit her. This girl could not help but curse in her heart. Fortunately, she was thin. Otherwise, she really would not be able to sit down. Little flame, just fly straight. I'll meditate and rest. If anything comes up, just holler. Yun Chuzhou began to meditate and rest. And Feng was miserable. He stuffed a pill into his mouth and relentlessly tailed her. Master, there are demonic beasts ahead. Yun Chuzhou opened her eyes and saw several black demonic beasts lying on the ground in front of her. Yun Chuzhou had seen this type of demonic beast in the Demonic Beast Atlas at the library. It was a mountain-drilling dragon, a Tier 6 demonic beast. It lived in groups and its innate ability was not only to dig holes. It could also spit out a form of sticky silk that was extremely difficult to deal with. Ordinary swords and sabers would not be able to cut through it and would get stuck in it. Yun Chujiu rolled her eyes. Little flame, keep flying forward. I'll deal with them. The chopping board continued flying forward rapidly, and the mountain-drilling dragons started spitting sticky silk toward the chopping board one after another. Yun Chujiu raised her spiritual energy barrier and blocked the sticky silk from reaching the chopping board. She thought that the sticky silk would not be able to do anything to her. Unexpectedly, several sticky threads actually dragged the spiritual energy shield down slowly. Oh my god, is this some sort of sick game? Yun Chujiu quickly waved her right hand. Little Jiu Thunderbolt. The mountain-drilling dragons were initially shocked by the lightning and became frazzled. One by one, they began to drill into the underground cave. Yun Chujiu was very proud. Little beasts, no matter how powerful you are, you're still no match for me. Yun Chujiu did not stay proud for long. A sharp cry came from the ground. Then, an even bigger mountain-drilling dragon appeared. After hearing its call, the other mountain-drilling dragons also came out of the cave. They spat out sticky threads at Yun Chujiu, who was floating in the air again. Yun Chujiu had to use her lightning trick again. Although she had killed a few mountain-drilling dragons and had cut off some of the sticky threads, they continued to spit at her under the command of the king beast. Yun Chujiu had just cut off a few sticky threads when a large amount of sticky threads wrapped around her. Yun Chujiu was getting a little worried. If she put down her spiritual energy barrier, she could be stuck by these sticky threads at any moment. However, if she did not, her spiritual energy would eventually be exhausted. Regardless, the result would still be the same. These mountain-drilling dragons were really difficult to deal with. And Feng, who was behind her, was about to help her when the situation suddenly reversed. A ball of wool appeared between Yun Chujiu's eyebrows and happily used its little claws to pull the sticky threads. As it pulled, it shouted, "This is my favorite kind of thread. Spit more, I want to knit a vest." The sticky threads were no different from ordinary threads when they were in Fei's claws, and it rolled them into a ball. The mountain-drilling dragon was miserable. Producing the sticky threads were their innate ability. If their threads were taken, they would starve to death in the future. Well done, Furry. Get more. How is that enough to make a vest? You can also knit sweaters and trousers and have a whole 6-piece wool set. I'll see how they show off after we take all their sticky threads. They actually want to trap me. They're really courting death. Yun Chujiu clapped her hands to cheer Furry on. The mountain-drilling dragons wanted to escape back underground, but Furry grabbed their sticky threads. They could not escape even if they wanted to, so Yun Chujiu struck dozens of them with lightning. The Beast King was obviously smarter. Seeing that the situation had deteriorated, it brought the rest of the pack back underground. Chapter 372, Fire Dragon. Yun Chujiu kept the corpses of the mountain-drilling dragons into her storage ring and commanded the chopping board to continue flying forward. Furry, it seems that you're quite capable. Yun Chujiu said with a smile. Furry said proudly, Master, I'm very capable. After I'm done weaving the vest, I'll weave a sticky silk net to help you catch demonic beasts in the future. Furry, your idea isn't bad at all. Go on and weave a good net. Yun Chujiu's eyes lit up. When she encountered enemies in the future, she would get Furry to cast the net and catch the animal. Was that not fantastic? And Feng was dumbfounded. She's actually taking this as a game. The master was weird, but this weapon spirit was even weirder. A weapon spirit who knew how to knit sweaters. Only it could knit sweaters made from the sticky silk of mountain-drilling dragons. Although the fire cave was called a cave, it was actually more like a semi-enclosed underground space. The deeper they went, the more spacious it became. Sunlight shone in through some tiny gaps, and the ground started to become more populated with plants. There were even some shrubs. Yun Chuzhou passed through the territories of a few demon beasts safely. She was a little puzzled. What exactly was trapping Elder Chu and the others? The temperature was getting higher and higher, and the plants on the ground began to become scarce again. Moreover, the temperature was rising rapidly. Yun Chujia's scalp was slightly numb and it seemed that there was danger ahead. Yun Chuzhou put away the chopping board and took out a concealment talisman painfully. Sigh, I really can't bear to do this, but I have no choice but to use the concealment talisman the gigolo gave me. This thing only lasts for 2 hours. I have to hurry up. Anfeng, who was following far behind her, also hesitantly took out a concealment talisman. The deeper we go, the more dangerous it is. I have to get closer to Miss Jiu. Yun Chuzhou advanced swiftly. After 15 minutes, she smelled a strong stench. Yun Chuzhou did not dare to be careless and proceeded cautiously. Some bones and fur of demon beasts began to appear on the ground sporadically. Yun Chujia's heart could not help but tremble. Could it be that Elder Chu and the rest were already there? Yun Chuzhou did not dare to think any further and continued moving forward. Suddenly, a loud beastly roar came from ahead. Yun Chuzhou felt her ears trembling until they were somewhat numb. At the same time, the ground began to tremble. Yun Chuzhou took out 2 balls of cotton and stuffed them into her ears before continuing forward carefully. After another 15 minutes, Yun Chuzhou saw the scene in front of her and could not help but feel both happy and worried. She saw a trembling spiritual energy barrier on the ground in the distance. It was Elder Shao and the others. Yun Chuzhou counted, and there was not a single one of the 12 people missing. However, all of them were seriously injured. Elder Shao and Elder Chu seemed to be in a better condition, and they were trying their best to support the spiritual energy barrier. Outside the spiritual energy barrier, there was a huge demonic beast constantly using its sharp claws to attack the spiritual energy barrier. When Yun Chuzhou saw the beast, she thought she was looking at the legendary divine dragon. This beast had the body of a snake. It was a few thousand feet long, and each scale was the size of a millstone. Its 4 claws were extremely sharp, and there was a fiery red horn on its head. The rolling pin said softly, "Master, this is a fire dragon. This fire dragon has already grown a horn, which means it's at least at tier 12, equivalent to the 6th level of the Spirit Emperor realm." Yun Chujia's heart sank. Elder Shao's spiritual energy was the highest among them, and he was only at the 4th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. The higher the level of the spiritual energy, the greater the difference between each level of the spiritual energy. The difference between each level was like a gully, and the fire dragon had the geographical advantage. No wonder everyone was defeated. While Yun Chuzhou was still deep in thought, the fire dragon's huge head turned to Yun Chujia's side and spat a huge fireball at her. Chapter 373, Magical Pills. Yun Chuzhou dodged the fireball in a fluster. She suddenly remembered that the gigolo had once said that the concealment talisman was only effective against those below the 5th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. That damn fire dragon had already discovered her. Yun Chuzhou simply put away the concealment talisman. Perhaps she could use it again in the future. Anfeng saw that the situation was critical, so he did not care whether he was exposed or not. He also put away the concealment talisman and shouted, "Miss Jiu, this is the fire dragon. We're no match to it. Quickly retreat. I'll hold it off." Yun Chuzhou was stunned when she saw him. She did not have time to ask anything, so she rolled her eyes and said in a low voice, "Let's go into the spirit shield first. We can discuss and then decide what to do." Anfeng did not have any good ideas, so he could only cooperate with Yun Chuzhou to catch the dragon's attention before he found an opportunity to enter Elder Shao's spiritual energy shield. Elder Chu spat out a mouthful of blood and shouted with a hoarse voice, "Little Jiu, what are you doing here? Didn't I tell you to go back to the sect?" Yun Chujiu ignored him. Instead, she took out a few bottles of pills from her storage ring and fed them 3 pills each. Seeing this, everyone could not help but smile bitterly. What quality pills would Yun Chujiu have? They're just hemostatic pills. Our injuries is so serious that it wouldn't take effect for a while. However, after consuming the pills, everyone discovered that the external injuries were visibly healing. Even the internal injuries were slowly healing. That was at least a 6th-grade blood regeneration pill for it to have such miraculous effects. Where did Yun Chujiu procure such high-grade pills? Did Elder Qi gave it to her? That should not be. It would be generous for Elder Qi to even give her a couple of such high-grade pills. Why would he give her so many? Could it be that young Master D gave them to her? Everyone's condition improved slightly, and the spirit shield was also a little more stable than before. Only then did Elder Chu look at Anfeng and asked, "This is my Prince Charming's guard. If it wasn't for him protecting me, I wouldn't have dared to come in." Elder Chu, set up an isolation array. This fire dragon definitely understands our words. Elder Chu took out the isolation array plate and opened the isolation array. Only then did Yun Chujiu ask, "How long can this spirit shield last? Don't you have any other defensive spiritual artifacts on you?" Only then did everyone realize that Yun Chujiu had a ton of defensive spiritual artifacts on her. Some of them even looked somewhat familiar. Heavens! Was that not the birthday gift that she had scammed from us back then? Elder Chu smiled wryly. If not for those defensive spirit tools, we old geezers would have been finished long ago. We relied on our spirit stones to constantly replenish our spirit energy, and that's how we managed to hold on for so long. Now, the spirit stones are also about to be exhausted. In a while, once the spirit energy barrier fails, well, hold back the fire dragon. You and this young friend must quickly retreat. Yun Chujiu rolled her eyes. Spiritual energy. She did have spirit stones, but that was what she had painstakingly obtained. She really could not bear to part with them. Moreover, she wanted more spirit stones. Yun Chujiu's eyes suddenly lit up. She took out a few porcelain bottles and gave each of them 3 pills. Swallow this and you'll naturally replenish your spiritual energy. Everyone saw 3 pills with golden pill patterns in their palms. Golden pill patterns? It was simply unheard of. They did not have time to look at the pills they had just swallowed. Could it be that those also had golden pill patterns? Everyone did not have time to think and swallowed the pills quickly. After a few dozen breaths, everyone felt the spiritual energy in the cave rush into their bodies rapidly. Their dantian, which was originally lacking in spiritual energy, was suddenly filled with spiritual energy. The spiritual energy shield also became more stable. The fire dragon felt the abnormality in spiritual energy and immediately became anxious. Its claws hit the spirit shield even more violently. Chapter 374, The Fire Dragon's Weaknesses. Everyone's spiritual energy was replenished and they took turns to support the spirit shield. Elder Shao and Elder Chu could finally take a breather. Were these pills were given to you by young Master D, Little Jiu? How many more do you have? Elder Chu asked curiously. Yun Chujiu blinked. Don't worry, I have enough to support you guys for 3 to 5 days. Although there aren't many of these high-grade pills, there are plenty of the super-grade spirit-gathering pills. What the hell? There are plenty of super-grade spirit-gathering pills. Are you kidding us? No matter how extraordinary young Master D is, super-grade pills can't be refined just like that. Bang! 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 Yun Chujiu took out 3 big buckets from her storage ring and placed them on the ground without saying a word. Little Jiu, although we're a little hungry, we can just take fasting pills. Why did you take out 3 buckets of rice? No matter how hungry we are, we can't eat so much. The corner of Elder Chu's eyes twitched. This little Jiao is really out of tune. Yun Chujiao grinned as she lifted the lid of the buckets. La la la. Look at what's all this. When everyone saw what it was, they were instantly dumbfounded. Inside the buckets were supergrade spirit gathering pills with pill patterns. When did supergrade pills become so worthless? They were not even put in porcelain bottles, but in buckets instead. Also, how many alchemists were needed to have this much refined? The power behind young Master D was indeed unfathomable. Now you guys can be at ease, right? 8 to 10 days shouldn't be a problem. I don't believe that we can't think of a way to deal with the fire dragon by then. Yun Chujiao said with a smile. When everyone saw those spirit-gathering pills, their spirits jolted. What little Jiao said made sense. Everything depended on human actions. They would definitely be able to think of a way to deal with this fire dragon. Everyone had good ideas, but no matter how much they discussed, they still could not think of a great idea. Old Xiao and I have the highest spiritual power. When the time comes, well, hold off this fire dragon. You guys take the opportunity to run. This dragon is huge. Once it reaches the narrow area ahead, its speed will slow down, and you guys will have a chance to escape. Elder Chu felt that this was the only way in order for more people to escape. Yun Chujia's little face darkened. Little Chu, your thinking is faulty. Why must you sacrifice a few people? Can't all of you live? Do you think your actions are very noble? If we really let you and little Pancher be sacrificed, would we still be able to have fun in the future? Won't we feel guilty for the rest of our lives? Elder Chu's face was painted red from Yun Chujia's scolding. Little Jiao. Ah, little Yun Chujiao. Then what do you think we should do? We can't all just wait here to die, right? Yun Chujiao straightened her small body and said seriously, with me, your little ancestor, here, I will not let you all die. Let me think about it. You guys hold on while I take a nap first. Everyone was speechless. Yun Chujiao closed her eyes and her brain started operating at a rapid speed. What should she do? Send a voice transmission talisman to her Prince Charming for help? No, the Prince Charming must be busy with something. Otherwise, he would not be in such a hurry to leave. Besides, when he arrives, grass probably would have grown over their graves. What's the weakness of this fire dragon? Everything has a weakness. Even an outstanding person like me has a weakness. This fire dragon must have a weakness too. Yun Chujiao suddenly opened her eyes. Do you know what this fire dragon's weakness is? Everyone shook their heads. Little ancestor Yun, fire dragons are very rare. We only know of its existence but have never interacted with it before. Therefore, we know very little about it. Yun Chujiao looked at Feng, who shook his head, indicating that he did not know either. Yun Chujiao curled her lips. These people aren't reliable, so I have to seek help from my gigolo. Therefore, she took out the voice transmission talisman and said with her divine sense, Dear Prince Charming, what is the weakness of a fire dragon? I'm waiting online. It's quite urgent. Chapter 375, Killing a Fire Dragon with Anger. A moment later, the voice transmission talisman began to vibrate. Yun Chujiao quickly sent her divine sense into it and heard Di Biming say in a low voice, If the fire dragon has yet to grow horns, attack its eyes and rear. For those that already have horns, attack the horns on its head first, then its eyes and rear. Why are you asking this? Yun Chujiao giggled and took out another voice transmission talisman, Prince Charming, I'm just asking. I love you, moi. After Yun Chujiao put away the voice transmission talisman, she realized that Elder Chu was staring at her with beaming eyes. Elder Chu asked with a trembling voice, Little Jiao, was that a voice transmission talisman? Yes, my idol gave it to me. Don't think too much about it. Yun Chujio quickly put away the voice transmission talisman, afraid that Elder Chu would try to snatch it. Elder Chu scratched his head awkwardly. I was just asking out of curiosity. Does little Jiu think that everyone is like her, snatching whatever she sees? My Prince Charming told me that the fire dragon's weakness is the horn on its head. Let's discuss how to deal with it. Yun Chujio said with a smile. The dragon outside was getting increasingly anxious. It was just about to break the spirit shield, but did not expect that it would actually become more stable after that little girl arrived. How hateful. After I break the spirit shield, the first thing you'll do is eat that little girl. The fire dragon attacked continuously for a long time and was getting tired. Thus, it laid in the middle of the road with its huge body and closed its eyes to rest. Just as the fire dragon was falling asleep, it heard an arrogant voice shouting, "Hey! Little Loach! I'm coming out! Come and bite me!" The fire dragon opened its eyes and saw that damned little girl sitting on a large chopping board, flying around in front of it. The fire dragon was instantly enraged and stretched out its huge tongue toward Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. Why is this fire dragon acting like the single-horned demon lizard? It actually used its tongue to attack as well. I'll hack you to death. Yun Chujio waved her hand and a purple lightning bolt shot straight toward the tip of the fire dragon's tongue. Needless to say, the fire dragon had underestimated its opponent and was really struck. However, its tongue was much stronger than the single-horned demon lizard's. Although it hurt from being struck, it was not a big deal. Instead, it attacked Yun Chujio even more furiously. You really have some skills. I won't play with you anymore. See you later. Yun Chujio said as she ran into the spirit shield. The fire dragon angrily hit the spirit shield with its claws. Unfortunately, the shield only trembled a little. After being replenished by everyone's spiritual energy, it was unbreakable. The fire dragon could not do anything. It returned to its original spot and closed its eyes to rest. A moment later, Yun Chujio ran out again. Hey! Idiot, come and catch me. You ugly freak. What's the point of living if you're so ugly? Just crash into the wall and die. The fire dragon angrily pounced at Yun Chujio again. After dodging it nimbly, Yun Chujio once again hid behind the spirit shield. The fire dragon's intelligence was quite high and it immediately understood Yun Chujio's intentions. She doesn't want me to rest. Humph. When you come out again, I'll ignore you. Hence, when Yun Chujio came out again, the fire dragon ignored her. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and scolded loudly. You're originally a long worm, and you even copied the divine dragon's long horn. You're really shameless. No matter how much you look like a dragon, you're still a fake. What fire dragon? I think you should be called fire worm. You're just an ugly long worm. The fire dragon could not take it anymore and pounced on Yun Chujio again. After a few times, the fire flood dragon was extremely annoyed by Yun Chujio's teasing. This stinky girl is obviously at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm, so why is her power of lightning so strong? Plus, that broken vegetable board was flying up and down. What the hell was that? I couldn't catch it at all. The fire dragon had seen Yun Chujio a few times, but it did not expect that her body was shining with light and had several layers of spiritual energy barriers, which made the fire flood dragon so angry. Is this stinky girl selling spiritual weapons? How could she have so many defensive spiritual weapons on her body? Chapter 376, Spice It to Death. Yun Chujio teased the fire dragon so much that it could not rest at all. It knew that this was the enemy's plan, but that little girl's words were too harsh. It could not bear it anymore. After 3 rounds of tormenting for half a day, Yun Chujio felt that the fire she stroked within the dragon was almost ready. Leaving behind 2 elders to support the spirit shield, the rest left the shield and went straight for the fire dragon. It saw everyone coming out and looked at them with contempt. They came out just in time. This fire dragon was hungry. Yun Chuzhou sat on the chopping board and ordered from behind, "Poke its eyes. Stab its anus." Its eyes and anus are its weak points. As expected, everyone went straight for the fire dragon's eyes and anus. It looked at everyone with contempt again. "Humph. If I did not have horns, the places that you attacked would indeed be weak points. However, I'm not afraid of you attacking these 2 places at all. You're really courting death." Although they had strength in numbers, the fire dragon's body was very strong. When the swords and sabers struck it, it was akin to being dotted. Damage was not done to the fire dragon even after attacking its eyes and anus. Fortunately, they had the spirit shield. When everyone felt that they were not a match, they would take turns to return to the spirit shield to rest. Therefore, even if they were injured, it was not a big deal. The fire dragon was very proud. Sooner or later, your spiritual energy would be exhausted. I have a strong body. Even if I can't spit fireballs, I can eat all of you just by relying on my strong body. After a few rounds, the fire dragon saw that everyone was moving slower and slower. It became even more proud. The humans were about to die. In just a little while, they would become its delicious meal. It had been a long time since it ate human flesh, and it really missed it. Therefore, when Yun Chuzhou joined the battle on the chopping board, the fire dragon did not take it to heart. Although Thunder Root Spirit was rare, that tiny bit of lightning power was not a threat to it at all. Yun Chuzhou shouted loudly, "Attack its anus. I have chili noodles here. Put it in. Won't the chili kill it?" The fire dragon was furious when it heard that. As expected, the little girl handed a few sacks to those people. Although the fire dragon had a strong body, it could not withstand chili noodles. It tried its best to dodge and kept attacking the people with its claws. Yun Chuzhou smiled slyly and the chopping board suddenly flew above the fire dragon's head. It struck the fire dragon's red horns with several bolts of lightning. The dragon's attention was focused on its hind, and it was completely unprepared. The horns were the weakest part of its body, and with Yun Chuzhou's powerful lightning and continuous attacks, the red horns were cut off by Yun Chuzhou. The fire dragon cried out in pain as its huge body rolled on the ground. Everyone was overjoyed, and they continuously attacked the fire dragon's eyes and its backside. It was in unbearable pain. After the horns were cut off, the eyes and the butt of the fire dragon became vulnerable again. Very soon, it was worn down to the point that it could not fight back. After a while, the fire dragon lay on the ground motionlessly. They used the eyes as a breakthrough point to cut the fire dragon, preparing to take out its demon core. That way, there would be no mistakes. What everyone did not expect was that just as they saw the demon core and was about to take it out, a red light shot out from it and directly rushed toward Yun Chuzhou, who was watching them. As this red light was not an attack, the defensive spirit tool on Yun Chuzhou's body was not activated. This red light directly shot into Yun Chuzhou's forehead. That's not good. The fire dragon is trying to possess her. Elder Chu shouted in shock. Chapter 377, Nemesis. The miserable Yun Chuzhou did not expect the fire dragon to do that. Her eyes rolled back and she fainted. Elder Chu stamped his feet anxiously. It's over. It's over. This fire dragon's divine consciousness is much stronger than little Jiu's. Once the possession succeeds, little Jiu will be dead for sure. Elder Chu, then what can we do to help Yun Chuzhou? Everyone was also extremely anxious. Elder Chu shook his head, there's nothing we can do. We can only hope Yun Chuzhou will get through this. After the dragon's primordial spirit entered Yun Chuzhou's divine consciousness, it immediately shouted arrogantly, "Stupid girl, did you think that I, the fire dragon, is so easy to kill? I'll swallow your primordial spirit, and then find a more suitable host. Yun Chujio was still a spirit cultivator. Her primordial spirit had not yet taken human form. It was only a small purple ball. When it saw the fire dragon pouncing over, it continuously dodged it in its spiritual sense. The dragon was very pleased with itself. Her spiritual sense was only this big. Let's see where you can hide. I'll definitely swallow you up. You've been toying with me many times in the outside world. It's my turn to have a good time toying with you this time. The fire dragon was like a cat chasing a mouse. It could obviously easily catch up to Yun Chujia's primordial spirit, but it kept chasing and stopping. The fire dragon kept laughing triumphantly when looking at Yun Chujia's primordial spirit shivering. Stupid girl. I'm almost done playing, so I'll eat you now. Then, I'll use your body to kill those people. Isn't that fun? Ha ha ha. After saying that, the fire dragon pounced toward Yun Chujia's primordial spirit. Just as it was about to catch up with Yun Chujia's primordial spirit, Furry rushed up and blocked Yun Chujia's primordial spirit. Furry was only a small ball in its primordial spirit form. Although it was trembling slightly, it still stood firmly in front of Yun Chujia's primordial spirit, blocking it. When the fire dragon saw Furry, it was dumbfounded. What the hell is this? How can there be such a thing in the smelly girl's spiritual sense? However, no matter what you are, I'll eat you. The fire dragon smiled sinisterly and pounced at the ball of yarn. The ball of yarn used its small claws to resist, but it was no match for the fire dragon. Yun Chujia's primordial spirit saw that the ball of yarn was injured and rushed toward the fire dragon. The fire dragon immediately gave up on the ball of yarn and bit Yun Chujia's primordial spirit. Yun Chujia's primordial spirit immediately curled up in pain. Yun Chujia's divine consciousness was in a mess. Outside, Elder Chu and the others saw that Yun Chujia's face was as pale as paper. She bit her lips tightly, and her forehead was covered with fine beads of sweat. Just as everyone was worried, a white light shot out from the rolling pin and hid between Yun Chujia's brows. Everyone was instantly dumbfounded. What was that thing? It came out from that rolling pin. A weapon spirit? Ah, it must be the weapon spirit of the rolling pin. That's right. The rolling stick was left behind by Patriarch Linghua. It must be special. Anfeng took out his voice transmission talisman and was about to send a message to Di Biming but hesitated when he saw Little Silver Dragon. Since ancient times, flood dragons were extremely afraid of true dragons. Thus, Little Silver Dragon might be the nemesis of the fire dragon's primordial spirit. After Little Silver Dragon leaped into Yun Chujia's divine sense and saw the fire dragon's primordial spirit tearing at Yun Chujia's primordial spirit, it was instantly enraged. Little Silver Dragon clawed at the fire dragon. Fuck. He actually dared to bite my master. I can't beat you outside, but I'll torture you to death here. Flood dragons, such as this fire dragon, had a natural fear of true dragons, such as Little Silver Dragon. The fire dragon was instantly terrified when it saw Little Silver Dragon. Little Silver Dragon stretched out its claws and slapped the fire dragon. Damn it, who told you to bite my master? This slap is for my master. This slap is for Wool. As this slap is for myself. I'll slap you to death, you little bitch. Chapter 378, Seize all opportunities. The fire dragon's intestines were turning green with regret. If it had known that there was a dragon in this wretched girl's spiritual sense, it would not have chosen her no matter what. It had thought that this little girl was the weakest, so it had chosen her as a host. It did not think that she was a weirdo. After Little Silver Dragon slapped its claws at the fire dragon a few dozen times, it aimed at its primordial spirit's throat and took a bite. The fire dragon struggled with all its might. Upon seeing this, Furry and Yunchujia's primordial spirit quickly went over to help. Master, bite it. Eat this little bitch and your damaged primordial spirit will recover. Little Silver Dragon shouted loudly. Although the little purple ball had yet to take human form, it could still devour primordial spirits. Upon hearing Little Silver Dragon's words, it began to devour the Fire Dragon's primordial spirit. It struggled desperately, but Little Silver Dragon's claws held it down tightly. Furry was not willing to be outdone, so it kept kicking and scratching. Who told you to bite me? I'll kick you to death. Yunchujia's primordial spirit devoured half of the Fire Dragon's primordial spirit, and the other half was divided between Little Silver Dragon and Furry. The people outside noticed that Yunchujia's face was slowly turning rosy, and her expression changed from that of pain to a strange satisfaction. Then, she burped and woke up. The Silver Dragon also flew out from between Yunchujia's brows and entered the rolling pin again. Little Jiu, are you okay? The people asked worriedly. I'm fine. That Fire Dragon's primordial spirit was eaten by me in Little Flame, Yunchujio burped and said. Little Flame? Is that the weapon spirit of that rolling pin? Yes. If it wasn't for this situation, I wouldn't have known that the rolling pin had a weapon spirit. The thing my master left me is indeed extraordinary. Yunchujio said with a smile. Anfeng, who was beside her, heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, he could not help but curse in his heart. Miss Jiu, your ability to lie is truly unparalleled in the world. You didn't know. He had seen that Little Silver Dragon countless times. However, Elder Chu and the others believed it to be true. They thought that it was because the rolling pin was eager to protect its master that the weapon spirit appeared. They all sighed. The first thing Yunchujio did when she got up was to put away the huge corpse of the Fire Dragon. A Tier 12 demonic beast. My goodness, this would definitely sell for a lot of spirit stones. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched violently, but they did not say anything. After all, if Yunchujio had not saved them, they would have all died there. Little Jiu, what's inside this sack? Is it really chilly? Why does it feel so heavy? Elder Chu kicked a few sacks on the ground and asked curiously. Hee, this is good stuff. It's the best to fool people. Yunchujio smiled and opened a sack for everyone to see. When everyone saw it, they were all in a mess. It was actually sand inside. I did this when I was in the Mystic Realms desert. Not only can I fool people with it, I can also make people curious during critical moments. It's a must-have for travel. Most importantly, it's free. It's absolutely free. Yunchujio tied up the sack properly and put it into her storage ring. Everyone felt that their worldview was refreshed once again. Before they could recover, they saw Yunchujio jumping into the Fire Dragon's huge nest. TSK. This Fire Dragon really doesn't care about hygiene. It's so messy in here. The nest was filled with the bones and fur of demon beasts. Yunchujio collected some high-level demon beasts and kept them. Their bones could be used as medicine, and the fur could also be used to make a few sets of fur mats. Furry can practice with them. The faces of Elder Chu and the others who followed her were stiff. This Yunchujio really seized all opportunities. She did not let anything go. Yunchujio saw that there was nothing left to take in the nest, so she said with a smile, Elder Chu, why are you all standing there? It's a waste not to take them. These bones are also good medicinal ingredients. Everyone looked at the bones that Yunchujio picked up on the ground, and the corners of their eyes twitched. Don't you feel guilty saying that? The good ones have all been picked by you, and the remaining ones are all low-level beasts. What's the point of them picking them up? Chapter 379, The Mysterious Fire Spirit Beast. Elder Shao, is the nest of the Fire Spirit Beast ahead? Yun Chuzhou was in a good mood after making a small fortune. Elder Shao nodded. Well, reach the Sea of Fire in about an hour. The fire spirit beast should be hiding near the Sea of Fire. However, when I came here with my master in the past, there were no fire dragons here. I don't know if anything has changed. Then let's continue moving forward. By the way, I'm very curious about the fire spirit beast. Its poop is so valuable. It's really great. Yun Chuzhou hopped forward. Everyone thought about Yun Chuzhia's words. Why did they feel that there was something wrong with her words? She was not thinking about the fire spirit beast, was she? Everyone shook their heads. They were probably thinking too much. They might not even be able to see the shadow of the fire spirit beast, let alone catch it. Even if she had any wicked ideas, she would not be able to use them. The further they walked, the hotter it got. Everyone activated their spirit shields. Yun Chuzhou was the only one who did not care at all. An hour later, everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them. About 100 meters ahead was the raging Sea of Fire. Everyone was shocked by the majestic scene of the Sea of Fire. At that moment, Yun Chuzhou thought, oh my god! Such an expansive Sea of Fire. How many fire spirit beasts would there be? After everyone recovered from their shock, they asked Elder Shao, is this fire spirit beast hiding in this Sea of Fire? Elder Shao shook his head, I don't know either. The last time we came, we waited here for a month. There was no sign of the fire spirit beast. We only heard a few beasts' roars occasionally. It was said to be the cry of the fire spirit beast. What exactly does it look like? Yun Chuzhou asked curiously. Elder Shao said with slight embarrassment, even the people of the Heavenly Gates sect have never seen the true appearance of the fire spirit beast. The Heavenly Gates sect originally had a portrait of the fire spirit beast that was passed down, but it was destroyed later on. So now, no one knows the true appearance of the fire spirit beast. They only know the cry of the fire spirit beast. Yun Chuzhou could not help but twitch her lips. They were too unreliable. They were there to capture the fire spirit beast without even knowing what it looked like. If the fire spirit beast could speak a foreign language and appeared right under their noses, they would not even know. Everyone was a little discouraged. The fire spirit beast was indeed too difficult to capture. Unless it came out of the Sea of Fire, there was nothing they could do. Everyone did not know how to go about it either. They could only take turns to wait and calculate the time limit given by the Heavenly Gates sect. They could only wait for another 3 days at most. If it was not fruitful, they had to return empty-handed. At night, everyone felt a little sleepy. They had not slept for several nights. Perhaps because Yun Chuzhou had swallowed the primordial spirit of the fire dragon, but she was very excited and did not feel sleepy at all. Therefore, she volunteered to work the night shift. Seeing that Yun Chuzhia's body was full of defensive spirit tools, there would not be any danger, so they agreed. Yun Chuzhou strolled to the front of the Sea of Fire, and observed the area. Her eyes were full of schemes. After she activated the defensive spirit tools on her, she moved closer and began to shout at the Sea of Fire, hey, is there anyone inside? There was complete silence in the Sea of Fire. There was no reaction at all. Yun Chuzhou stretched her neck and continued shouting, are all the fire spirit beasts dead? Seeing that there was still no reaction from the Sea of Fire, Yun Chuzhou touched her chin. Could it be that the fire spirit beasts did not understand the human language? That should not be. Did they not say that the fire spirit beasts were exotic beasts? If Little Black could understand her, they should be able to understand her too. Chapter 380, Going to trick the beast again. Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes. She guessed that the fire spirit beast was very cautious. Otherwise, it would not have been impossible to catch it for thousands of years. Sigh, could it be that all the fire spirit beasts are dead? Sob sob, that's such a pity. Yun Chujio straightened her neck and began to howl. Elder Xiao and the others who were about to fall asleep when they were woken up by Yun Chujio's howl. Everyone was dumbfounded. What was Yun Chujio up to? So cute, so powerful, and such a magical animal has gone extinct. The heavens is really heartless. All of you have lived underground your whole life and have never seen the outside world. It's so sad to see all of you die just like that. The rolling pin and the ball of yarn felt that this line was somehow familiar. The two of them shook a little. Their evil master was going to trick the beast again. Sigh, there's nothing I can do. Since you're all dead, I'll just pay my respects to you. I'll burn some soft and sweet steamed buns for you so that you can have balanced nutrition in the afterworld. You don't have to eat hard stones anymore. Yun Chujio took out a few steamed buns from her storage ring and threw them into the sea of fire one by one as she spoke. Elder Xiao and the others were so angry that they were twitching. Has Yun Chujio gone mad? Isn't that a waste of food? The temperature of the earth fire is extremely high. Those steamed buns would instantly be turned into ashes. What was she planning? Could it be that she wants to use the steamed buns to attract the fire spirit beast? Don't joke around. As everyone knows, the fire spirit beast only ate ores. It didn't eat anything else, alright? She's simply messing around. Although everyone thought so, they still stretched their necks and looked forward. Something strange had happened. The first few buns had indeed turned into ashes, but when the fifth bun was thrown down, a shadow jumped out from the sea of fire, caught the bun that had yet to fall into the sea, and disappeared. Elder Xiao and the others were dumbfounded. Then, they were so excited that they almost screamed, "Fire spirit beasts! It must be a fire spirit beast!" Everyone held back the excitement in their hearts and did not come forward. They were afraid of disturbing Yun Chujio. Damn! Although Yun Chujio did not seem normal, these fire spirit beasts seemed even more abnormal. A fire spirit beast that had not shown its face for thousands of years actually appeared for a few steamed buns. It was simply too weird, was it not? A faint light flashed in Yun Chujio's eyes. TSK, any reaction would have sufficed. Fire spirit beast, no matter how refined you are, you can't beat me. Yun Chujio continued to throw large steamed buns into the fire. A few more figures flashed past, took the steamed buns, and disappeared. Due to the cover of the earth fire, the crowd could not see the figure clearly. However, the speed of those figures was astonishing. They disappeared without a trace in just a flash. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes as if she did not see the fire spirit beast. As she threw the buns, she shouted, "Poor fire spirit beasts! If only you were still alive! I still have a lot of delicious food here. Much better than steamed buns. Poor thing, I'm afraid you haven't eaten anything other than stones. I'm the most soft-hearted person, and I can't stand such a tragic story. If you didn't die, I would definitely feed all the delicious food in my storage ring to you. I don't care about the earth fire. What I like is your mysteriousness and your indifference to the world. If I can be friends with you, I'll definitely feed you until you're fat, so that you can play happily under the sun, and no longer have to hide in this underground life." Elder Xiao and the others were still very excited at the beginning. After all, they had seen the fire spirit beast. However, they were a little discouraged now. Although the beasts had picked up the buns, they seemed to be very cautious. How could Yun Chujio trick them into coming ashore with just a few words? Chapter 381. The other party threw a ball of earth fire at Yun Chujio, threw about 20 steamed buns and clapped her hands. "Sigh, it's getting late. I'm sleepy too. I'll continue to worship you tomorrow." After saying that, Yun Chujio retreated to where everyone was. Then, she took out a recliner from her storage ring and lay down on it, getting ready to sleep. Elder Chu and the others were very anxious, but they scratched their heads in confusion. They surrounded her. Yun Chuzhou mouthed to them, "Don't be impatient. Just wait and see." Although everyone did not understand what Yun Chuzhou meant, they could only return to their spots and continue resting. Yun Chuzhou was about to settle into her downtime when the voice transmission talisman in her storage bag started to vibrate. Yun Chuzhou took it out and used her divine sense to probe it. Di Baiming's deep voice sounded, "You went to catch a fire spirit beast. Be careful, don't overexert yourself. If you want it, it'll help you catch one when I have time." Yun Chujia's heart was beating fast. Her long-lived thick skin blushed slightly red. The gigolo's flirting skills were getting more and more powerful. "Prince Charming, I got it. Don't worry. By the way, you must guard your body like it's jade. Don't let anyone take advantage of you. If anything, I should be the one taking advantage of you," Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. The voice transmission talisman started to vibrate. Di Baiming's gnashing voice came from inside, "Nonsense. You must pay attention to your safety." Yun Chuzhou pouted. She thought he had improved, but he was still so arrogant. On the other side, Di Baiming saw the voice transmission talisman vibrate. He quickly sent his spiritual sense in and heard Yun Chujia's smug voice, "The other party doesn't want to talk to you," and threw a ball of earth fire at you. Di Baiming frowned. What did she mean? What did she mean by throwing a ball of earth fire at me? On the other side, Yun Chuzhou hugged her stomach and rolled around happily. Humph. Earth fire is the fire spirit beast's shit. I won't use curse words even though I'm scolding you for being arrogant. On the other side, Di Baiming frowned and thought for a long time, but he still did not understand what she meant. He decided he would ask the black thing again when they met. There were only 5 voice transmission talismans in total, so it was better not to waste them. Elder Xiao and the others saw Yun Chuzhou laughing foolishly on the recliner as if she was having a seizure. They were all dumbfounded. This girl was really too impulsive. They did not know what her plan was, and whether she could lure the fire spirit beast out. Yun Chuzhou slept for a while. The next morning, she continued grumbling in front of the sea of fire, but this time, she threw a meat bun in instead. Suddenly, a few figures flashed through the sea of fire. They jumped up to catch the meat buns and disappeared. After Yun Chuzhou threw dozens of meat buns, she took out the stack of books she bought and began to read them with great interest as if nothing had happened. Anfeng's eyes twitched when he saw the title of the book. The books was not, "Me and My 3,000 Beautiful Male Cultivation Furnaces," but, "My 81 Male Pets, My Beautiful Male Harem," and so on. Anfeng thought to himself, if His Excellency found out about this, he would be furious. This Miss Jiu is really outrageous. When Elder Chu and the others saw Yun Chujia's book, their faces turned red. Elder Xiao said with a dark face, "Yun Chujiu, how can you read these books at such a young age? Hurry up and put them away." Yun Chujiu did not feel embarrassed. She said with conviction, "I'm just taking precautions. I don't know much about things between men and women. What if I'm deceived in the future? You guys, it's because you lack this kind of knowledge that you've become single old men." Chapter 382, Let's Go Back. Elder Xiao almost choked when he heard Yun Chujia's words. What nonsense! We're all focused on cultivation and have never considered the affairs between men and women. It's not what you said at all. If it's not, then it's not. What are you so hung up about? Why don't I lend you a few books to read? Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Elder Xiao felt that he would die of anger if he continued arguing with Yun Chuzhou. He turned around and left. Yun Chuzhou waved the book in her hand. Hey, who wants to read it? I'll lend it to you for free. Everyone shook their heads like a rattledrum. Yun Chuzhou is really too unrestrained. We can't afford to offend her, but we can hide from her. Therefore, everyone ignored Yun Chujio and left one after another. Yun Chujio curled her lips and continued reading with relish. For the entire day, Yun Chujio did not go to the Sea of Fire at all, and only ate and kept reading the book. Everyone was really confused, and every time they wanted to ask, Yun Chujio would stop them with her eyes. She would not let them ask, so everyone could only wait and see. At night, Yun Chujio threw dozens of meat buns into the Sea of Fire. She mumbled a few words that were similar to what she said the night before and then went back to sleep. On the third morning, when everyone thought that Yun Chujio would throw the buns again, they found her sitting on the recliner, unmoving. Everyone was unsure what Yun Chujio was doing. Why did she suddenly stop the feeding? At first, there was nothing unusual with the Sea of Fire. After a while, everyone realized that there were a few figures jumping around in the Sea of Fire. Although they could not see clearly, they could tell that there were about 7 or 8 fire spirit beasts. Yun Chujio then stood up from the recliner and walked to the front of the Sea of Fire. When the fire spirit beasts saw Yun Chujio coming over, they became more active and jumped around even more. Yun Chujio picked up a meat bun but did not throw it into the Sea of Fire. Instead, she ate it herself, and as she ate, she mumbled, "Sigh, I've been feeding you for 2 days and I still haven't seen you eat it. I guess none of you like this meat bun. I'll keep it for myself to eat. You guys can continue eating stones." Squeaking sounds came from the Sea of Fire, but Yun Chujio acted as if she did not hear it. As she ate, she continued to mutter, "Oh my! Why are the buns today even more delicious than the previous ones? They're delicious, juicy, and so fragrant. Sigh, I can't see you guys anyway. I'll leave after breakfast. You guys can continue living happily in this dark underground. I've already given you a chance. Since you guys don't want to grab the opportunity, there's nothing I can do. There are so many delicious food like this bun outside, but you guys can't eat it anymore. How pitiful." The few figures in the Sea of Fire seemed to be a little anxious. A few of them jumped forward. Before the crowd could see clearly, the few fire spirit beasts were pulled back by the ones behind them. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. There must be some old and young fire spirit beasts. There were some who were impatient and some who played it safe. It seemed that they had to continue working hard. Yun Chujio sighed. "Sigh, I'm such a soft-hearted person. I'll leave these delicious food to you guys. I'm leaving." After saying that, Yun Chujio placed dozens of meat buns on the ground. After thinking for a bit, she placed 2 pots of stewed meat on the ground, then, she clapped her hands and said to the crowd, "Let's go back. Since these fire spirit beasts are willing to gnaw on rocks, why should we meddle in other people's business? We can't do anything about the earth fire. Anyway, I have the heavenly thunder root spirit. When I'm free, I can help you hack some of your stuff. Let's go." Chapter 383, Beautiful Fire Spirit Beasts. Elder Xiao and the others saw that Yun Chujio was winking at them so much that her eyes were about to cramp up, they could only turn around and walk out in confusion. Everyone had the same thought. Would this work? Would those fire spirit beasts really take the bait? Would they really come out from the Sea of Fire? Yun Chujio silently counted in her heart. 1, 2, 3. When Yun Chujio counted to 30, a few fiery red figures jumped out from the Sea of Fire and pounced on the food. Yun Chujio did not stop and continued to walk forward. She also indicated that everyone should not pay attention to what was happening behind them. Yun Chujio muttered as she walked, "Let's go quickly. There's neither delicious food nor beautiful scenery in this cave. It's really suffocating. I'll never come to this lousy place again. I really don't know how the fire spirit beasts can endure for thousands of years here. What a low-key mystical beast. Let's go back and grill some meat." Earth fire isn't that great anyway. The flame is too uncontrollable, so it's better to grill it with tree branches. We can also eat it with hot pot, maybe stir-fry a few side dishes, and make a pot of spiritual wine. TSK, I'm dying of hunger. After dinner, we can play on the swing, and soccer is so fun. Let's hurry up and leave. I can't wait. Yun Chujio said that she would leave quickly, but her footsteps were slow. She perked up her ears to listen to the sounds behind her. As the saying goes, people die for money and birds die for food. I don't believe that these greedy beasts can endure it. Squeak squeak. Squeak squeak. The fire spirit beast behind them finally could not help but squeak. Yun Chujio still did not turn her head. She continued to mumble as she led the group forward. Squeak squeak. Squeak squeak. Squeak squeak. The fire spirit beast's cries became even more urgent. Yun Chujio still turned a deaf ear to it. She even quickened her pace. Finally, a few fiery red figures leaped over and began to chirp anxiously about 30 feet away from the crowd. Yun Chujio looked as if her ears had just came back on. She turned her head around with a look of surprise. Huh? Are you guys calling for me? The crowd followed Yun Chujio and turned around as well. They saw 5 fiery red small beasts standing about 30 feet away from the crowd. There were also 3 slightly larger beasts by the side of the sea of fire. These small beasts were only about 2 feet in size. They looked similar to fire-breathing panthers. They had fiery red fur and their eyes were like rubies. They were bright and beautiful. The 3 slightly larger fire spirit beasts started to squeak anxiously. It seemed like they were calling the 5 small fire spirit beasts to return. However, these small fire spirit beasts were having a friendly conversation with Yun Chujio. Are you fire spirit beasts? You're so beautiful. You're the most beautiful spirit beasts that I've ever seen. Yun Chujio squatted down and said with a smile. The 5 small fire spirit beasts raised their necks proudly. Apparently, they were enjoying the compliments very much. Do you want something from me? I'm leaving now. This cave is so boring. The 5 small beasts seemed to be a little hesitant. They used their forelegs to push the sand around anxiously. Do you want to eat good food? I only have 2 roast chickens left, you can have them. I'm leaving, take care. Yun Chujio said as she took out 2 roast chickens and placed them on the ground. Then, she signaled everyone to leave with her. Everyone resisted the urge to capture the few small fire spirit beasts and followed Yun Chujio. The 5 small beasts pounced on the roast chicken and started eating it. How could 2 roast chickens be enough for them? In just a few bites, they were all gone. The 5 small fire spirit beasts looked at each other and started to squeak once again at Yun Chujio's back. Yun Chujio turned around and spread her hands. There's really nothing left. If you guys want more, you'll have to come back to Spirit Radiance sect with me. At that moment, 3 large fire spirit beasts ran over and kept roaring at the 5 small beasts, trying to grab their bodies and pull them back. Chapter 384, Would you agree? Elder Shao and the others were dumbfounded. Oh my god! Was it not said that fire spirit beasts were hard to find? They actually saw 8 of them at once. There were others who were there for months and did not even spot a single fire spirit beast. Yet, little Jiu used a few big buns to fish up 8 fire spirit beasts. Had these fire spirit beasts not eaten buns in their past lives? Are you all mutated beasts? Can you have some integrity? You actually took the bait just for a few buns. And those 5 small ones, no matter how you look at it, they seem to want to rely on little Jiu. They were even playing into this game. It was just that these 3 big ones that didn't seem to agree. What would little Jiu do next? Everyone thought that Yun Chujio would convince the three big fire spirit beasts to go with. They did not expect Yun Chujio to wave her hand at the five small fire spirit beasts. You guys can go back. Your elders are doing this for your own good. If you don't listen to them, you'll suffer a loss in the future. Hurry up and go back. Elder Xiao and the others wished that they could sew Yun Chujio's mouth shut. Are you stupid? If you say that, wouldn't we have wasted our efforts? The three big fire spirit beasts obviously did not expect Yun Chujio to say that. They could not help but be a little confused. What did this human little girl mean? Yun Chujio sighed. Actually, I'm not that kind. I gave you food because I wanted to bring you back to the sect and use your earth fire to refine pills. Although the outside world is very interesting, and it'll provide you with good food, you still have to do something for us. So, you should listen to your elders and continue to stay in this dark cave. After all, it's very safe here. The three adult fire spirit beasts hesitated after hearing Yun Chujio's words. This human girl said it so bluntly, so it didn't seem like she's lying. Yun Chujio continued, I know that you fire spirit beasts are very wary of humans. That's understandable. However, are you really willing to stay hidden in this cave for thousands of years? You don't see the sun all year round and can only eat ores. Besides, you don't seem to have any other abilities other than producing earth fire. With such a closed environment, you probably won't be able to advance forever. Moreover, I previously killed a tier 12 fire dragon. It said that this fire dragon didn't exist before. What does that mean? It means that there are already high-level, fire-type demon beasts eyeing this place. Those demonic beasts might not be afraid of your earth fire. When the time comes, what awaits you will be a disaster of extermination. I, Yun Chujio, don't dare to say anything else, but I can swear here that I absolutely will not harm you. Yun Chujio's last few words had clearly hit the sore spot of the three big fire spirit beasts. The fire dragon from before had tried several times to get to them, but perhaps its level was not high enough so it failed halfway through. If the fire dragon advanced again, it was very likely that it would be like what the little human girl had said. It would eat all of the fire spirit beasts. Perhaps, the arrival of this little girl was an opportunity for the fire spirit beasts. She said that she had a heavenly thunder root spirit, but she was not killed by the heavenly trials. There must be something special about her. The three big fire spirit beasts looked at each other and discussed for a while. Then, they brought the five little beasts and raised their front claws, bowing to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio was overjoyed in her heart, but she looked calm on the surface. You're following me? If that's the case, squeak once. If not, squeak twice. Elder Xiao and the others' hearts were in their throats. Would these fire spirit beasts really agree? Chapter 385. This girl was trying to trick them again. Elder Xiao and the others held their breaths as they stared at the fire spirit beasts, afraid that they would not agree to leave with Yun Chujio. Under everyone's eager gazes, the 8 fire spirit beasts nodded one after another and squeaked. All right. Since you've already decided, do you still need to go back and retrieve anything? If you don't need anything, let's go. Yun Chujio was laughing in her heart, but she looked calm on the surface. The 8 fire spirit beasts shook their heads. There was nothing else there other than ores and earth fire. Frankly, they had long since grown tired of the place, but they could only hide there for their own safety. Yun Chujio's eyes rolled, and evil tricks bubbled up in her heart. If she brought those 8 fire spirit beasts back to Spirit Radiance sect, she would not get anything. She had to keep them for herself. Yun Chujio said with a troubled expression, Elder Chu, these fire spirit beasts are too eye-catching. If we take them out like this, we'll definitely be targeted and robbed by all sorts of forces. Elder Chu and the others were so happy that they were dumbfounded. They had silly smiles on their faces. Oh my God, there are 8 fire spirit beasts. The Heavenly Gates sect relies on just one fire spirit beast and are already so cocky. Spirit Radiance sect has 8 of them in one go. Oh my God, we've struck the gold mines. It was not until Yun Chujio asked them several times that they finally came back to their senses. Ah. Ah. What did you say? Yes, what you said makes sense. Then what should we do? Elder Chu looked at Yun Chujio. She was a little fairy. No. That's not right. She was a money-grubbing little girl. Yun Chujio touched her chin and said awkwardly, it's best to hide them. It's better to put them into the spirit beast pouch. However, spirit beasts that don't have owners can't be put into the spirit beast pouch. Anfeng blinked his eyes. Miss Jiu, is it really okay for you to lie like this? The spirit beast pouch given to you by His Excellency can obviously contain a spirit beast that doesn't have an owner. Elder Chu and the others knew that spirit beast pouches indeed could not contain a spirit beast that did not have an owner, so Yun Chujio successfully led them astray. What should we do? Although we've never seen a fire spirit beast before, people would guess their identity easily since we're here in the Fire Valley. Little Jiu is right. The safest way is to put these fire spirit beasts into the spirit beast pouch. However, if they don't have an owner, they won't be able to put them into the pouch. Anfeng said nonchalantly, then why don't we just get these fire spirit beasts acknowledge someone as its owner? Yun Chujio gave Anfeng a bunch of thumbs up in her heart. What did it mean to be a promising and ambitious subordinate? Anfeng was a pretty good example. But since ancient times, these strange beasts have never acknowledged any masters. They're stubborn and would rather die than be driven by others. It's said that the one from Heavenly Gates sect stayed there by chance, but didn't acknowledge a master, Elder Chu said with a frown. Yun Chujio said with a smile, everything depends on the person. Let me try. Yun Chujio squatted down and said to the 3 big fire spirit beasts, you heard it too. If you don't acknowledge a master, someone might come after you once you get out of this fire cave. I won't force you, but you should think about it carefully. If you acknowledge a master, it will not only ensure your safety, but also facilitate communication. If you have any needs, it'll satisfy you immediately. Elder Chu and the others finally understood. Oh God, she was tricking them again. If the 8 fire spirit beasts acknowledged her as their master, would she not be able to be all-powerful? Chapter 386, Wipeout. It was already too late for Elder Chu and the others to repent. They could not possibly expose Yun Chujio in front of the fire spirit beasts, right? At that time, all their efforts would be for naught, and they would still be the ones crying. This little girl was really too shrewd. If they were not careful, they would fall into her trap. It was simply impossible to guard against her. However, would these fire spirit beasts agree? Fire spirit beasts were exotic beasts. How could they be easily fooled by little Jiu? Following them and acknowledging their master were 2 different things. Everyone's gaze was focused on the 8 fire spirit beasts. Those 5 little beasts were clearly a bunch of little brats. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, they nodded their heads in agreement without a care, but the 3 adult beasts were a little hesitant. They were exotic beasts. If they acknowledged a master, would that not be a disgrace to their fellow exotic beasts? Besides, after recognizing a master, they had to obey their master. They were used to being free and did not want to be restricted. If they were restricted, they might as well eat rocks in the fire cave. Yun Chujio saw that the 3 big fire spirit beasts were a little hesitant, so she said with a smile, I'm doing this for your sake. How about this? In order to show my sincerity, we can sign an equal contract. How about it? Besides, I'm a very easygoing person. I'll try my best not to interfere with your lives. I have the heavenly thunder root spirit. If you sign an equal contract with me, it'll be a matter of pride if word gets out. You fire spirit beasts have such a long lifespan. In just a short moment in your long life. When I'm dead, you'll regain your freedom. When the 3 adult beasts heard that there was a contract, they found an excuse to be okay. It was an equal contract anyway, so it would not be too embarrassing if word got out. Besides, the little girl was right. Fire spirit beasts had a lifespan of more than 10,000 years. When she died, they would be free. Besides, it was enough that they stayed underground for thousands of years. The 3 fire spirit beasts exchanged glances with each other, then nodded and made a sound, indicating that they had agreed to acknowledge their master. Elder Chu and the others were dumbfounded. With just a few words, these exotic beasts had forgotten their integrity. They had agreed to acknowledge a master just like that. 8. There were 8 fire spirit beasts. The people of the Tianyuan continent racked their brains, but they had not even seen a single one. She used a few tattered buns and a few words to trick all 8 of them. Was that not too much of a blow to them? Yun Chujiu bit her index finger and dripped blood into the mouths of the 8 fire spirit beasts, then began to form seals. What they did not know was that at that moment, a huge ancient and complicated pattern had formed in the air above the fire cave. Almost at the same time, several thick and heavy dark clouds began to gather from all directions. The heavens was furious. Yun Chujiu. It's one thing for you to repeatedly escape the thunder tribulation. But you actually made a contract with an ancient beast. And you even contracted 8 of them in one go. You're too arrogant. It'll definitely kill you today. Yun Chujiu did not know that a great disaster was about to befall her. After she contracted with the beasts, she happily put the 8 fire spirit beasts into her spirit beast pouch. She even put a lot of delicious food in it. As the saying goes, the exploiter is soft-spoken, but the hand that feeds is short. She would feed them well and then use them to scam other people's spirit stones. Elder Shao and the others looked at Yun Chujiu with envy and jealousy. Constantly comparing oneself to others was infuriating. Yun Chujiu was in a good mood at that moment, and said generously, "Those who are here will have a share. If you need earth fire in the future, just holler. It's free. Anyway, it's ours. How convenient." Chapter 387, Dark Clouds. The corners of Elder Chu's and the others' eyes twitched violently. What? From what she said, did she mean that she wanted payment when someone else used the earth fire? Could it be that she still wanted money from Master Shenyuan? And Feng, who was at the side, could only feel a surge of admiration in his heart. No wonder his esteemed self had taken a fancy to Miss Jiu. His esteemed self really has discerning eyes. Who would have thought that the dark and useless little girl from back then would actually be so heaven-defying? TSK, taking in 8 beasts in one go. Just relying on the earth fire alone could earn them a fortune. The group spent another day or so before exiting the fire cave. As it had already been 5 days since Yun Chujiu entered the cave, Liao Chuan and the others had already set off to Spirit Radiance sect. However, everyone quickly discovered that something was amiss. According to the time, it should be morning, so why was it so dark outside? Moreover, everyone noticed that there seemed to be a huge pressure between heaven and earth slowly coming down on them. Even though they were already at the Spirit Emperor realm, they still felt a little breathless. Yun Chujiu immediately had an ominous premonition in her heart. Fuck. The damned heaven could not bear to see her doing well. If something good happened to her, it would come and join in the fun. This time, the cloud formation was even bigger than the time when she and the gigolo were completely hacked naked. It was probably not going to be peaceful. This godforsaken god is probably going to strike me with lightning again. Hurry up and leave, don't be implicated. Yun Chujiu said to the crowd. Little Jiu, why does it look like this time is even more serious than the previous times? Can you handle it? Elder Chu asked worriedly. Ah, don't worry, don't worry. It's good to be struck by lightning. You guys should leave quickly. You guys aren't as weird as me. You'll be in trouble if you get struck by lightning. Yun Chujio waved her small claws and pretended to be relaxed. Everyone thought about it. They really could not be of much help anyway. They gave a few words of advice, but they did not go too far. They were only about 2 miles away. Yun Chujio frowned. No, it's too close. At least 10 miles away. Otherwise, it'll be struck by lightning later, and you'll all be able to see it. And Feng, don't just stand there. Hurry up and leave. Miss Jiu, and Feng wanted to say something, but Yun Chujio said with a straight face, do my words not carry weight? Hurry up and leave. Otherwise, it'll get Prince Charming to deal with you. And Feng had no choice but to follow Elder Chu and the others and retreat 10 miles away, staring worriedly in her direction. And Feng thought for a moment, took out a voice transmission talisman, and told Di Biming about the situation. After receiving An Feng's message, Di Biming was burning with anxiety. However, as the saying goes, water from a distance cannot quench the thirst of those who near. He took out the remaining unused voice transmission talisman and said, Black Thing, you must stay alive. Otherwise, it'll strangle you to death even if I have to chase you underground. Yun Chujio took out the voice transmission talisman and heard it. She could not help but twitch her lips. She thought to herself, since I've already gone underground, I must have already died. What's the point of strangling me? Stupid. Prince Charming, don't worry. I haven't slept with you yet. I won't die. After Di Biming received the voice transmission talisman, he could hear that Yun Chujio's tone was relaxed. The worry in his heart eased a little. The black thing would definitely be fine. Yun Chujio kept the voice transmission talisman into her storage ring, and then deliberately walked a distance forward to prevent the fire cave from collapsing. She gave herself a thumbs up. She was too kind, always thinking of others. If she did not go a little further, the demonic beasts in the fire cave would all be hacked into charcoal. Chapter 388, For real this time Yun Chujio found a flat area and drew a circle with the rolling pin. Then she sat cross-legged in the circle and said to the dark clouds in the sky, Hey! Come on, let's hurt each other. Hit me. Hit me more accurately. If you hit the outside of this circle, you're a bastard tortoise lightning. You only know how to hit me when you have nothing to do. If you have the ability, why don't you go and split the mountain? It'll save you the trouble of having you Gong and the others move the mountain. 1. Why don't you go and split the sea? You can do whatever you want. No matter how you hack it, you can't break it. The rolling pin was on the verge of tears. Master, can you keep a low profile? Yun Chujio curled her lips. Even if I kept a low profile, it would still hack me. Why don't I scold it to vent my anger while it's at it? The rolling pin had no words. The 8 fire spirit beasts in the spirit beast pouch were almost regretting their actions. Damn it! What kind of master had they acknowledged? They were actually struck by lightning for no reason. They were simply scared to death. The dark clouds in the sky were trembling. We, the dark clouds, can't do anything to you. Today, we're all gathered together. We don't believe that we won't be able to strike you to death. Today, we'll return all the insults you gave us in the past. Today, we will definitely strike you to death. The dark clouds in the sky gathered even faster, and the entire sky darkened. In the distance, Elder Chu and the others could only see that the area near the fire valley was dark, as if it was shrouded in black fog. Nothing could be seen. Their hearts were in their throats. The heavens was really going all out this time. Could little Jiu withstand it? Yun Chujiu was very uneasy. Heavens, this darn god is playing for real this time. Strange grass, little mirror, now is the time for you to show off your skills. If I'm going to die, you won't be able to live either. All of you, work hard. Strange grass and the great void mirror seemed to be a little uneasy as well. They did not respond to Yun Chujiu as usual. They only moved slightly, which meant that they had heard Yun Chujiu's words. Yun Chujiu frowned. Why are all of you cowards? Weren't you pretty awesome when you occupied my Dantian back then? Weren't the two of you arrogant when you fought? Why are you all cowards now? All of you, be more energetic. In order to ease her nervousness, Yun Chujiu took out a fruit and started to eat it. Well, even if she died, she had to be a glutton. Finally, the entire black curtain of a sky seemed to have been torn open, and a purple lightning as thick as a bowl fell from the sky. Yun Chujiu sucked in a breath of cold air. Damn it! She had already put on a show at the beginning. This time, it was really going to be tough. Yun Chujiu did not run. It was useless to run. This damn purple lightning knew how to navigate around well. The lightning struck Yun Chujiu's body. Yun Chujiu shivered. Fortunately, her meridians were strong. Although her body was stiff from the strike, it was not a big deal. Just as Yun Chujiu regained her senses, another thick lightning struck down. Boom! 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 The thick bolts of lightning struck down continuously, and the place where Yun Chujiu was quickly turned into a deep pit. Yun Chujiu was already numb from the strike. She felt that other than her eyeballs and spiritual sense, the rest of her body parts had already stopped working. Even though the strange grass and the great void mirror in her dantian were swallowing large mouthfuls of lightning, the power of the lightning was too much. The speed of their swallowing could not keep up with the speed of the power of the lightning entering her dantian. Yun Chujiu watched as her dantian swelled up like a balloon. Yun Chujiu could not help but laugh at herself. Damn it! If this continued, she would definitely be blown into pieces by her dantian. Chapter 389, Deep Affection in the Distance. Elder Chu and the others were worried when they saw how powerful the heavenly lightning was. They wanted to step forward and help Yun Chujiu, but when they were about 5 miles away from her, they were forced to take a step back by the overwhelming pressure. Elder Chu could not help but let out a long sigh. It's over. The heavens is really serious this time. I'm afraid little Jiu is doomed. And Feng gritted his teeth. After weighing the pros and cons, he still reported the situation to Di Baiming. His esteemed self was far away in the Tianyuan continent. By the time he arrives, Miss Jiu would already be dead. Sigh, so what if she had a heavenly root spirit? Escaping punishment for going against the heavens was impossible. The terrifying heavenly lightning struck for a full 10 hours before the dark clouds gradually dispersed. A ray of sunset hung over the horizon. The twilight was heavy, and everything seemed to have returned to normal. Before everyone could react, a flying spirit tool quickly flew over from the sky. Di Baiming jumped down from it and headed straight for the terrifying deep pit on the ground. Elder Chu and the others also quickly ran over from afar. Di Baiming's angry but trembling voice came from the deep pit. Black thing. Black thing. Little Jiu. Where are you? Little Jiu. Answer me. Are you trying to rebel? Answer me quickly. Yun Chujiu, if you don't make a sound, I won't forgive you. Everyone's heart sank and they all went down to the bottom of the pit. They saw that the bottom of the pit was charred black. Other than a few pieces of charred clothes, there was no sign of Yun Chujiu. Di Baiming's eyes were red and the veins on his forehead bulged. He used his hands to dig the soil around him. Everyone saw the situation and quickly helped. They felt lucky. Maybe little Jiu was just buried in the soil. Little Gio would definitely be fine. The sky gradually darkened. Fortunately, it was a full moon that night so they could clearly see their surroundings. Di Baiming's hands were already numb from digging. He did not dare to use his spiritual power, nor did he dare to use his spiritual tool. He was afraid that he would accidentally hurt Yun Chujio, who might be buried somewhere. His fingernails were broken and his hands were covered in blood. Anfeng did not dare to persuade him. They had already dug so deep and so wide, but there was still no trace of her. It was likely that she had already been hacked into ashes. Di Baiming's heart was filled with sorrow and guilt, as if he had been cut off from the outside world. Only by constantly digging could the pain in his hands numb the despair in his heart. Prince Charming, when I first saw you, I fell in love at first sight. I stole your clothes because I'm happy for you. I really love you too much. Prince Charming. It's really you, Prince Charming. That's great. I thought I was dreaming just now. Prince Charming, I'm so lucky to see you again. Thank you so much. Prince Charming, you're so good to me. I can't repay you. In the future, you can drink my blood as much as you want, as long as you don't drink me to death. Prince Charming, you have to wash up before you go to sleep. We were caught in the rain just now, it would be unsanitary if we didn't wash up. Just wait, I'll go get some hot water. In a while, I'll personally wash and bathe you. I'm just thick-skinned. I'm just shameless. What can you do to me? I'm going to kiss you now. My Prince Charming, didn't you say that you wouldn't stop me? Then why are you pulling my arm? Let go of me, I'm going to hit the wall. My Prince Charming, don't worry. I haven't slept with you. I won't die. The past scenes kept appearing one after another, their flirtatious, shameless, shy, and scenes with deep affection. It was hard to tell where their feelings sprouted. Di Baiming finally understood what Yun Chujio meant to him at that moment, but was it still too late? Little Gio, where are you? Chapter 390, Little Gio was definitely not dead. Di Baiming had been digging non-stop for an entire night. Anfeng looked at his venerable self, who was covered in mud, and sighed in his heart. His venerable self had a serious obsession with cleanliness. He would not even spill a drop of blood on his body when he killed someone, but he was almost a clay figurine at that moment. Sigh, Miss Gio, where are you exactly? Didn't they say that calamities live for 1,000 years? How could you die just like that? Elder Xiao and the others also had grief on their faces. They wanted to persuade Di Baiming, but they did not know where to start. Speaking of which, Little Gio's death was also somewhat related to them. If it was not to save them, she might not have been targeted by the heavens. Anfeng's eyes suddenly lit up. Your Excellency, the voice transmission talisman. Why don't you try sending a voice transmission talisman to Miss Gio? Di Baiming's dull eyes lit up. He took out the voice transmission talisman and said with a trembling voice, Hey, Little Gio. Where are you? Answer me quickly. Time passed bit by bit. The sound transmission talisman was dead silent and did not respond at all. The hope in Di Baiming's eyes was destroyed bit by bit. He suddenly roared, No. She won't die. She definitely won't die. Di Baiming continued to dig the soil with his hands crazily as he spoke. Elder Chu and the rest looked at Di Baiming, who had fallen into a state of madness. They could not help but sigh. This young Master Di was extremely affectionate toward Little Gio. Initially, they thought that he had taken a fancy to Little Nine's heavenly lightning root spirit. They were really wrong. Elder Chu's eyes suddenly lit up, and he suddenly slapped his thigh. Young Master Di, Little Gio will definitely be fine. We were also scared silly. Other than some burnt clothes, we did not find anything else. According to common sense, the clothes had not been completely burnt, and those spirit tools should have left a trace behind. Also, that rolling pin is an immortal tool. Even if it was struck by lightning, it would not turn into ashes. At the very least, there should be some remains. Di Biming was stunned. His thoughts were occupied by the panic and despair of losing the black thing. After hearing Elder Chu's words, he could not help but calm down. Yes, the black thing not only had the immortal rolling pin, but also the heaven and earth furnace, and the ancient divine item, the great void mirror. How could there not be any traces left behind? The black thing is definitely not dead. But where did she go? Di Biming was like a withered tree that was slowly coming back to life. Black thing is not dead. Black thing is definitely not dead. Di Biming's eyes shone with a terrifying light. Elder Chu is right. Black. Little Jiu is definitely not dead. I'll wait for her here. She'll definitely come back. Everyone waited for another 3 days and 3 nights by the pit, but there was still no signs of Yun Chujiu. Di Biming let Elder Chu and the others return to Spirit Radiance sect to await for news. Every day, he would sit by the pit and talk to himself. Little Jiu, I won't call you Black Thing anymore. Come back quickly. From now on, my things will be yours. I don't care what you want anymore. Don't you like drawing me? As long as you come back, you can draw as many as you want. As long as you come back, I'll sing you a lullaby every day from now on. If you get tired of that song, I'll learn a few new ones. And Feng, who was at his side, wanted to cry and laugh at the same time. Miss Jiu, our revered lord has been completely subdued by you. Hurry up and show yourself. If this continues, our revered lord will definitely go crazy. Day after day passed. In the blink of an eye, nearly a month had passed. There were even fire edelweiss growing in the deep pit, but still no signs of Yun Chujiu. Even though the voice transmission talisman that urged Di Biming to return to the Tianyuan continent was trembling crazily, he still stubbornly talked to himself by the side of the pit every day. He told Yun Chujiu his thoughts, his guilt and his love. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.